live.
I don't see it. That doesn't mean it's not live.
There we go.
That's
Whoa.
us.
There it is.
That's us.
And it's plugged in.
I think this is the most together we've ever had a start of a stream.
Well, we've had it together more in the past, but this is just for this time. And I can hear the echo.
We sound good, we look good, we feel good.
Yes.
We are good. And the fan is back.
The fan is back.
The fan was not here last week and it was sorely missed.
It was.
The orchid wasn't here last week and it was sorely missed.
I think because we didn't have the orchid,
Keeps
it didn't work out last week.
Yeah, orchid keeps the balance.
The orchid makes things go better.
Anya says, who are these imposters? Kite and Flex are never on time for a stream.
Wow, I know, we're not. This is crazy.
Orchid.
We're actually like early. Yeah,
that was the punishment of the orchid.
The
and
orchid
now
is
we
the
are being
bug.
rewarded.
So hi, Anya. Hi, Pyle. Pyle says, nice dress, Kite. Yeah, thank you. Isn't this a pretty dress? And like, it has like an opening in the back. So it's like, I'll show off my dress.
Oh, the opening.
It's got like a nice
so fancy
slit down the side. This is my dress to if we were going out to the theater.
That's your dress to impress. Yes, indeed.
Oh, hi, Tiara. How are you? Also, my hair today. So I tried to do my hair curly because
Yes.
I've got natural texture to my hair, and it turned out so bad. So then I started trying to smooth it down with my fingers, and you're not supposed to do that if you have curly hair because it goes down. Oh, it's just a book.
Thought it was smudge. Somehow I thought smudge had got up there.
I thought it was something.
Yeah, that was scary. Luna's here to check on it, make sure everything's okay.
Duffman, hi Duffman. So yeah, it kind of looks like Hermione Granger hair going on, but whatever, what can you do? Félix Dubois, salut Félix. Oh, cette semaine, je prendrai le present tense in français. So I'm excited to be doing that.
Oui.
Oui?
Oui. Oui.
But yeah, good to see everyone. Tiara says Smudge is behind Kite. Is he really? No, that's not Smudge.
That's a smudge.
It looks like him. Duncan says Luna. Yeah, Luna's just kind of...
She's patrolling the grounds.
Luna's never really active for the streams because it's so...
That book really shook things up.
Wait, oh, it's because of this. Luna. She does not like the fan. That's why she came out. Something about this fan sound effect she doesn't really like. But yeah, it brought her back to life. There you go.
Hey, Luna. Hi, baby.
So yeah, welcome to
say
the
something
stream.
into the microphone.
Tiara says no other side. He's there. Is he really? Did I squish him? Are you implying he's underneath the book? That I squished him? Anya says your title is wrong. It's Saturday morning. Oh yes, for all our Australian friends, it's Saturday morning. Actually, we should go ahead and start with the news because it's
Start with
somewhat
the sad
related.
stuff first, yeah.
Yes, we have a couple of sad things to put, but this is somewhat related to Australia, I think.
Yes.
Did this stranding happen in Australia?
Yes, the stranding happened in southern Australia. 480 whales, pilot whales specifically, were stranded. And it's very interesting because you told me about it. I had no idea.
Yeah, I heard about it on the radio.
I just started to kind of casually look into it. It's kind of wild because when you start looking into the people in Australia, specifically like the whale researchers there, they're very sad because it's a tragic loss of whale life.
Right.
But they're also like, this is a natural thing. This is something we don't understand. Like, we don't know why they do it. It doesn't seem to be climate related. It doesn't seem to be human related at all. This is just something that specifically pilot whales in Australia do.
Right.
And it's not like every year they strand, but this is the largest stranding they've had.
Since 1913, they said.
Yes, but they said every decade or so, hundreds of pilot whales will beach themselves in Australia, specifically
really
on this
sad.
beach. It's very sad.
And they have no idea what causes this.
Yes.
Red says Death Stranding.
Well,
That's the first thing I thought too.
Yeah.
Isn't this the plot of Death Stranding?
yes, it begins the
they
sixth
strand for no
extinction
reason?
event. Yes.
It's really sad.
It's a sign. But I want to read something because if you go to projectjonah.org.nz, they actually have a really good guide on why whales strand. Project Jonah, I guess, is a New Zealand website. It's all about whales and their behavior. But specifically for the pilot whale, they attribute social bonding. So they said the strong social bonding of some species of whales can cause mass strandings. Whales will strand in groups, are usually deep water species with highly evolved social structures. In New Zealand, the most common species of mass strand are the long-finned pilot whales. Whatever reason, for the initial stranding, the strong social bonds of these animals can draw the rest of the pod in.
Wow.
So like a few will do it, and then they all feel socially obligated to join in. It's very weird. One of the most common patterns with mass strandings is that one or two whales will initially strand, the animals will send out distress signals, and members from their pod may attempt to help or mill slightly offshore. A receding tide will then catch these animals and then soon the whole pod will become stranded.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
It's very sad. They just get confused, and because they're so socially dependent on each other, they all gather up.
Right. Even if it did happen. I mean, it might have happened by accident, though.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, in the case of this strand, because they've gotten better at technology and better at identifying this, they were actually able to save quite a few whales.
That's good.
Not hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds will die.
Right.
But more whales were saved this time than have ever been saved in the past. So they were actually able to get them back out in the ocean, and they basically start moving them through the water, and then they regain their senses and go back off. Yeah.
That's really sad.
It's really sad.
Especially if the first couple pilot whales on the shore, it was an accident or unintentional, and then the rest of them joined.
Well, whales the Project Jonah kind of gets into this. They're slightly suicidal. They will strand if they're injured or if they're old and they can't keep up with the pod anymore. It's just like, it's a natural way for them to kind of end their life. It's just to strand and die that way.
That's sad.
So either, something went wrong or they got confused and stranded on shore, or one of them was just trying to end his life peacefully.
And then the rest of
everyone
them.
else came in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
It is very sad.
William Hacking had a comment before it disappeared off screen that says, if your friend jumped off a cliff. That's basically...
Yes. The entire pod of whales jumped with you.
Well, I know whales are incredibly social, and there's someone in the Discord server who is very, very knowledgeable about whales. I'll have to ask him about this.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in the chat here, but we were talking about how social they are, and there's a story, I think it was last year, about this orca whale, and she was mourning the death of her baby that died, and she carried around her baby's dead body for 7 days, pushing it in the ocean because she didn't want to part with it. And then finally, she had that, but she was mourning for it.
Yeah.
And that's such a sad thing to see. And I heard on the radio regarding the pilot whale beaching that they weren't letting people go close to it because it was so distressing. Hearing them crying out and trying to cry for help, and then just dying.
Yeah, it's a mystery. We have ideas why, but it is a total mystery.
Right.
Still, why mass strandings like this occur.
Right.
It's interesting because a couple people in the chat were actually mentioning it's cult behavior, and it really, when you start reading into it, it feels like that.
Right.
One whale does something, and then the other whales are just I'm gonna do this too.
Yeah.
They're so.
I mean, you
hive-minded.
see that with humans.
Yeah. That's true.
You see that there are
poor decision
psychological studies.
Cascades.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just talking, I'm sure someone in the chat who's very smart probably can reference this exact thing, but there was a study to show how easily influenced people are. They brought these individuals into a room, and there was a mirror where you could look through, and they said, okay, crank up the dial on this machine. And the person on the other side was hooked up to this machine. Right, and they pretended to get electrocuted. But the individual doing the test did not stop when being told, okay, crank it up even higher.
Yeah.
There's just some people who are very susceptible to that. So
it's very weird.
you see that in animals as well. That's so scary, though.
It is. Oh. It's just there's a herd mentality.
Yeah.
To
that's
animals, humans, bees, there's just this weird, if they're doing it, it must be okay. I'm going to do it too.
Right.
And that's just kind of frightening to think about.
Scary.
All right, so
Tiara
speaking
says, if Taylor Swift beats herself, I would totally beat myself, just saying.
Well, let's hope that
Taylor
Taylor's,
Swift,
well, if Taylor's Twitter presence and encouraging people to go vote means anything, let's hope herd mentality works.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
That's a good example of it.
Taylor, save us.
Hydrosaurus said, I've heard of this, and it was an actor. Yes, Thank you, Hydrosaur. Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
famous experiment, but
Radiolab did a thing on it a while back. It was
the
really
person
good.
getting electrocuted was an actor, so they'd act like they were more in pain, but the person would still continue to die. It's a very scary study.
Very weird.
Ugh. Yeah, it's just terrifying to think some people are that easily influenced. We have another somewhat depressing
Yes.
thing regarding big herds.
9 million feral hogs in the U.S. for the feral swine bomb?
Yes.
So what
it's
is
a
this?
Feral swine bomb. So remember we had talked about this.
Well, the feral hogs problem is real.
Right. The feral hogs problem has been going on for a really long time. So in the U.S., there are these hogs that are invasive, and I think a majority is in Texas. But it is now estimated their numbers are up to 9 million, and these hogs have actually bred with domestic pigs, and domestic pigs have been bred to have these huge litters at a time of piglets. So the feral hogs are now breeding with these domestic pigs and having a ton, huge litters of piglets, and they grow to an insane amount.
Yeah, and they eat everything.
Right, and they're rampaging, and they're just eating and destroying everything in their path. And there was actually a story, some woman, an old woman was gored by these feral hogs. And so they're calling it
Well, they kill the other
swine bomb.
wildlife. Like, they will
Right.
literally trample deer,
Right, it's a huge problem.
everything.
And so they don't know how to address this, and they're growing out of control. First thing I thought about is that scene from Princess Mononoke, when the hogs are just going through the forest out of control. That's the first thing that came into my head. But yeah, this is a huge problem.
The messed up thing, in my opinion, and this is really like, go figure. Vice actually did a really good report on feral hogs a couple years ago, and I watched it, and I was just like, this is unbelievable. Because one, they can't kill them faster than they respawn.
Right.
Like they have so many children. But two, they won't eat them.
Why?
Because the people in that area think it's like trash meat.
Okay,
And
but
the people who did like the correspondence were like, no, it just tastes like pork.
right, it would, because especially if they're now breeding with domestic pigs, they're
Yes.
going to just be like wild pigs.
And let's not act like people who eat meat don't already eat trash meat. If you go to McDonald's,
Right,
like you're not
exactly.
eating
I mean,
standardized A-grade
We've
meat.
talked about that before. Okay, Hydrosaur said Mononoke. Yes, Mononoke comes to mind because it's such like an iconic scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've talked about this before, how people don't carry their standards across the board.
It's like it's pork.
Right.
And
right.
they're killing, and they're basically just like chucking their corpses
Yeah.
and burning them because no one wants to eat them.
Wow.
Like this one guy was hunting them as part of their report. He's like, no, it tastes great. I'll eat as much as I can.
Yeah.
It's free meat.
There is a huge problem with invasive species all over the world, but in here especially in Florida, there's a huge problem with invasive species. So pythons,
And we
also
can eat those.
capybaras
We can
are
eat those.
invasive. Yeah,
We can eat these
you
things.
You can eat anything.
And
you can
we
even
don't.
eat lionfish, and lionfish are very, very
This is what I don't
poisonous.
get. This is what I don't get is we have this abundance of creatures that we need to curb back.
Right.
But we insist on factory farming cattle.
Right.
And it's like
I know.
it's the whole thing like about deer is you have to have hunters to hunt deer. Otherwise deer will grow out of control.
Right.
So why don't we make the hunters focus on the pythons, the hogs, the lionfish, and eat those too? Like we could totally get rid of factory farming
I
if we
know.
use these invasive
Yeah,
species as
we
forms of
could.
meat. Andrew says introducing the feral McRib. That's a
Feral
brilliant
McRib,
idea.
oh my God.
McDonald's should hire you as their VP because I think we would have to start eating the feral McRib to help out the planet.
We were talking about when quarantine was going on, what new jobs would
Yeah.
be created because of this, and we thought they should have a branch who is dedicated to eradicating
back invasive
species. Not only animal invasive species, but also plant invasive species. And we'll get into that. I have something else on the news for this.
Coming soon.
But yeah, that's just crazy.
It is crazy.
Not Green says, China says hi. Oh, hi, Not Green. How are you, buddy? Haven't seen you for a while.
Welcome to the stream.
I hope I'm not acting awkward and scary this stream. But
Sometimes
let me know if I am.
when the moon is full, Kitetails becomes a little wraith-like. The inner wraith comes out,
Creepy.
and then she goes on the hunt.
Yeah. But now since we're streaming earlier, it's fine.
Yeah, the moon isn't out yet.
Okay.
We're totally good.
TR says, in the UK, we have to cull deer, but people won't buy venison, so it becomes dog food.
And then I don't get it.
Why wouldn't you
Venison tastes
though.
good. I don't get it.
Yeah, I just don't know.
There's so many things I don't
some
understand about
weird-
people.
Yeah.
Like-
there's some weird hierarchy in terms of, I think it's just, a lot of it is just social.
If it's hunted ethically and it's in preservation of the planet, we should absolutely use every part of the animal.
I
The
completely
bones, the
agree.
meat, the
Right.
leather, everything.
Right.
Like we're respecting the earth by using that animal
Right.
that has grown too large for
Right.
its existence.
Exactly.
Like that is the respectful thing to do.
Yeah.
Is to preserve the planet, keep, kind of steward everything in check.
Mm-hmm.
But then like we turn around and we look at what we're doing with the farms,
Right.
and it's unacceptable.
I know, it's awful. It's awful.
And it's not
factory
like they-
farming is a huge polluter, and something needs to be done about it.
Yeah.
If people would just, but that's a whole other conversation about ignorance and people not being objective when they make arguments for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Anya says, another solution, reintroduce wolves into swine areas. They won't go for the bars, but they will cull the piglets. You know what? There's another study that was done. There was this one river or national park where, so the wolf population in America is so endangered right now. It's a huge issue. And unfortunately, one of the main proponents against the protection of this all the endangered species of wolves in America are farmers, because they will go after livestock, so they see it as like a threat. But there was this one area that had been, just the wolf population was completely gone. So they reintroduced wolves into that area, and it completely changed the ecosystem in ways that they didn't even expect happening. They started seeing native animals come back to that area. Trees started growing in that area, because the wolves were able to keep the rabbits and the squirrels and everything
That's so
in
amazing.
check, and so the trees had time to grow from little sap. Yeah, it was just
So what you're
absolutely
saying
incredible.
is we need to be raised by wolves.
Exactly.
You
Raised
heard it here
by
first.
wolves.
Raise ourselves by wolves.
Yeah, everything has a place, and it's beautiful. Hydrosaur says, his comment disappeared. I'll read
I
Bishop's
got it.
before. Bishop says, I don't understand people either. I heard some guy say he hates graphics in video games.
We'll get to that. We'll get there. Hydrosaur says in France, hunters are causing a lot of trouble. Accident with loose bullets hitting hikers or bike riders.
Oh my gosh. How do you even do that, though?
You have to have a license to hunt.
First of all, how close to the biking trail is your hunting ground?
That is weird.
That's scary. Thinking, I'm just going to go for a bike ride and you get shot.
There should be
That's
designated
awful.
like, this is a hunting area.
Yes.
This is a biking
and
area.
Also, like,
and none of the
shoot
two
in this
shall
general
mix.
direction.
Yeah.
That's scary. Anya says Yellowstone Park was practically dead because of overgrown population of deer. The wolves were reintroduced about 20 years ago and now is thriving. That's amazing. And that's a perfect example of how everything has its place in the ecosystem. And I know a lot of people who, like we talked of a few weeks ago about Florida released a bunch of genetically modified mosquitoes into the environments. And now we don't know how those are going to affect it. So it's really interesting. We have a couple other points of news to talk about returning nature back to itself. Why don't we just talk about those first, because we're kind of on this
We're on the nature kick. So tell me about the eucalyptus history in California.
So this one, I saw Duncan in the chat early, and he posted some interesting things in the Discord about California has a really, really long history with the eucalyptus tree, which was imported. It's not native, but now since it's been there since like the late 1800s, it's a highly flammable tree.
Well, it also doesn't need a lot of water.
It needs a ton of water.
This explains everything.
It just sucks the water out of the ground. But they've been in California for so long that they're now an iconic part of the landscape. They're highly flammable. They're very, very intensive for water. They are very drought resistant, but
that's not, who cares?
Exactly. You don't need to mix that with a land that is already begging for water.
Yeah. Especially when you're giving it all to Las Vegas.
Exactly. So he linked a really interesting article about that. And they were planted because they were supposedly, we're going to use all the timber from the eucalyptus trees, and they spread like crazy. But they can't even use the timber. So this just happened, and now it's like, eucalyptus trees, this is how California is supposed to look like. And it's not.
We need to fix how much we've not fixed.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's an example, though.
Unreal.
That's an example of, you could easily set up a committee to curb this invasive tree.
Well, it sounds like they did that in Hawaii.
They did do this in Hawaii. And so
Tell me about it.
there is this pampa grass. I should have photos. We need to look up photos for this.
We're going to get there one day.
Don't-
One day this stream is going to be so high quality, we'll actually have things going
How
on.
about you
in the
look it
stream.
up?
Pampas grass.
You look up pampas grass.
Pampas grass.
So this is like the nature stream, because usually we never have
Hey-o.
this much news about the environment, and I love the environment, so this is a great one for me. But so Hawaii has a problem with pampas grass.
This is the grass from Animal Crossing.
Is it?
Yeah. This is like that Animal Crossing grass.
Oh yeah, that's that.
This is totally Animal Crossing grass.
So that is pampas grass,
Animal Crossing grass.
and it is invasive in Hawaii. And Hawaii set up a commission, a big island invasive species commission, to tackle this problem. And so what they ended up doing over time, they asked homeowners, they said, look, there's some pampas grass on your yard. Can we take it away? Can we plant a native plant instead? They were able to eradicate
That's
all
awesome.
adult pampas grass.
Yes.
It's gone. So now they said for the next 6 years, they're going to have to monitor and look, because the seedlings can stay in the environment alive for up to 6 years, and they don't want another
I
problem.
mean, we can't even get rid of weeds in our pot, in our front driveway. Like,
Exactly.
it's
so
hard
they
to
are
get rid
going
of
to
plants.
take a look at this. But I thought that was just incredible that they were able to get rid of the problem and introduce native plants while at the same time.
Andrew said the
So-
solution is to grow some humble grass.
Yeah.
Andrew, you're on fire today.
Jason says, I'm still waiting on a Bible study stream. I would be down for doing that. We're going to do it on Sunday. The first topic we're going to talk about is judgment. Like judging others.
I'm scared.
I think that's great.
I'm scared.
But yeah, Jason, we have to do that on Sunday. We can't do it Friday night. We got to do it on the Lord's Day. So TR says can't get rid of that orchid either. This orchid is good luck.
This orchid
When
makes it
we
happen.
mixed things up last week and had tulips, everything
Well,
went
that
wrong.
one week we were so late is because the orchid wouldn't cooperate.
Yeah.
So I think we've come to an agreement
There's
with the orchid.
something with
that
the orchid.
We're gonna keep the orchid on.
Right.
The orchid will behave and
Exactly.
everything will be back to normal.
Rez says, I'd be down for a Bible study stream. Wow, yeah, absolutely. Christians and atheists and whatever religious denomination you are.
Unite.
Bible study
Let's bring it together.
stream.
Let's study some Bible.
Well, I'm totally down for it. I'll plan the lesson. We'll do it on Sunday.
Duncan
if
says
you
he has
guys
this
would be
moat
open
that's
for
been
it.
bothering him.
A moat?
Yeah. It's in his eye. Because you gotta get the plank out of your own eye. I got it,
We'll help
Duncan.
you, Duncan.
It's all right, Duncan. I'm with you. Unfortunately, we're not all with you right
Mr.
now.
Telly says, judgment, I love making fun of people, and I am here for it. I'm throwing some shade. But, Tellius, we're specifically talking about the instruction not to judge others as commanded to followers of Christ. So not
Unless
like
you're-
throwing shade in general.
The only appropriate time to judge is if you're on a really cool show with a bunch of guys in drag and you want to make sure that the best one gets to the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's absolutely okay to judge.
There are
Judge
appropriate
queen.
moments.
Judge.
Judge Queen. Tiara says, I'll be hosting a rival Catholic Bible study.
You're on. We'll see whose study
No,
gets more
Tiara,
people.
we can have you
and then
on.
we'll battle it out.
We'll have a segment for you on it. It'll be like right after we do the Protestant
Sorry, I just see
version.
competing religions and I get all Crusader Kingsy because I have an obsession
Yeah.
that I can't curb.
But that's Pampas grass.
Yeah, so tell me about the Timber Culture Act of 1873.
No, it's old. It happened in 1863.
73.
Interest- I will say this.
That's what it says here. It says 73.
Fuar in the Discord. First of all, I love reading interesting things. I've learned so much just based on the links that people will share. Michael is an engineer friend in the Discord, and he posted a link about last week when we were talking about microfibers polluting the environment. He posted me this video showing how a water filter works just using opposite
Right.
currents of water, so there's no filter, so there's no additional waste. I thought, oh, that's so cool. I now know this filter. So yeah,
I feel like we've been given science brains, so we can do really good science things like that.
Yeah.
And when we ignore science,
right,
like, we are just ignoring how awesome we are.
right,
You know?
exactly.
Like,
Like our
that's
capability
amazing.
of doing something like that. So
Yeah.
I'm always open to learning new things. Likewise,
Science rules.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep posting those fun links. I love reading them.
Okay.
Red says, I'm interested to hear your take on when souls go to hell, heaven, do they sleep in Revelations, etc. Wow, that's deep.
That's deep.
That's like a Wednesday night topic.
See, when I
not Sunday morning.
when I gather souls, I try to get as many as I can so I can level up a bunch at
So
the
you can go
nearest
to
fire.
the
Yeah,
fireplace.
exactly. I go to the bonfire, I level up, but
Yeah,
sometimes you lose all
exactly.
your souls because you die.
Duncan says, I love timber and legislation. Yeah, I can tell all of the tree articles you've shared me this past week. I
Speaking
love
of
them.
tree
They're
articles,
great.
I'm curious what the Center for Biological Diversity's short-term victory is with Joshua trees in California.
Yes, so you have to look up a photo of the Joshua tree.
I've seen the Joshua tree. I also
So-
listen to you too.
Wow.
They'll get it. Someone in there will get it.
Someone will understand. So there is this organization I support, really, really informative and smart people, Center for Biological Diversity, and they filed a petition in California to protect this endangered species of tree called the Joshua tree. And Flex will show you a photo of what the Joshua tree looks like. This is such an interesting tree because the branches...
It's like the Red Dead tree.
Exactly. They're iconic. So the branches are shaped like boomerangs. And do you know why it would be called the Joshua tree? Because of these boomerang-shaped branches.
Is it because in the Bible, Joshua marched around 7 times Jericho and he boomeranged? He boomeranged his way around Jericho, then knocked them walls down.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know.
Oh, you were asking me. Well, that's a theory.
I don't know.
Bible theory. That's the name of our new series, Bible theories.
Bible theory. That's
careful.
a great series. We're going to do this on Sunday, guys. It's going to be early. I'm serious. Let's do it this first Sunday. Is going to be our Bible stream.
I feel like we are not nearly qualified enough.
Why not?
We
We have a Bible and a songbook. We'll even sing a cappella.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, why not?
We do use a guitar. We use a guitar at least. We're not doing this a cappella weird cult nonsense. We grew up in
No, we're
we grew
definitely
up in a
going to
church
do
that
it.
thought you would go straight to hell if you had an instrument enter the threshold of your place of worship. They also thought you would go straight to hell if you shuffled your feet in a rhythmic fashion to music.
But I told you,
Footloose.
they made the deacons at the church publicly apologize for dancing with their wives.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
Also, someone else got reported because a fellow church member saw them out in public drinking wine for his anniversary.
Good grief. Andrew says, what if your instrument is your voice? Checkmate, Christians. Got him.
I mean, that is what they teach, but
See, that so he asks, hymnal. No, you're allowed to use a hymnal. You're just not allowed to drum on it. As soon as you start patting on that hymnal, making a drum sound, you're going to hell.
as soon as you do anything.
Rhythmic.
But we should get into all this crazy stuff.
We should just do a religious stream. It's not a Bible study stream. It's a religious
It's a
stream.
religious
We just
stream.
talk about how we grew up, how we are now, what we believe, and then we can talk to
Yeah,
the
but
chat about...
they want a legit Bible study stream. Tiara says, "Were you arranged marriage at 13?"
Yes. Next question.
mean, you make a joke about it, but we technically did meet.
We were I was 13.
You were 13.
Yeah.
And I was older.
Yeah. It wasn't arranged, though.
It wasn't arranged, but we did meet at church. We did meet at church.
Yes.
It was a church camp.
Yes.
We'll get into that.
We'll get there. We'll get through all of it.
What else is next?
What is next?
So the Joshua tree, I don't know why it's called the Joshua tree, but the Center for Biological Diversity filed this petition in California to protect it. And the main opponent to this petition to protect this endangered species of tree
Las Vegas.
is solar power.
Oh.
Big
What?
solar power company, because the solar
What?
power company in California wants to come in and raise 12 acres of Joshua trees. And they said, oh, but listen, guys, it's better for the long run because California needs to move on and get more energy because of all the wildfires. We need to move to solar. And so Center for Biological Diversity said, it's actually a really great quote. I posted in the Discord, but they said, if you are claiming to be pro-environment by destroying endangered species, then maybe that's a sign that your project is in the wrong place.
What?
Because they basically just want to mow down this area of tree.
Here's what I don't get. Because Tiara said solar power is a meme, plus all the literal slave labor to get the metals. I've heard about that. Like, the
Also-
cells themselves have to be mined, and it's like, it's legit slave labor.
Right.
But there are literally millions of roofs in Los
Yeah.
Angeles alone that you could solar power,
Right.
and no one would complain.
Yeah. No,
Like, you have the most
it's because
land
I guess
to
they
solar
wanted
power.
a solar power farm or something.
You don't need to
I just
farm
thought,
it.
this is so ridiculous. But again, this reminded me of Princess Mononoke.
You know, in the book *Sapiens*, which is a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic book, the author suggests that like what ruined humanity is
Mm-hmm.
the farm. Because once we started farming grain, we lost all of our skills, we lost all of our
Wow.
capabilities, and like we became so focused on the ability to process, farm, and digest grain because we weren't able to digest grain before.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And like farming has led to all of the agricultural and sort of climate fallout.
Right.
If you look at what's required to farm,
That's crazy.
how we have to mine to create tools to farm, like everything comes back to agriculture.
Right.
And we totally screwed ourselves over when we stopped going hunter-gatherer. And like that should have been where we are as a society.
Yeah.
But we insist on farming solar, animals, plants. Like
Yeah.
everything is a farm.
Right,
And it
it
doesn't
is.
work.
It
We need to
is.
stop farming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that to give input, but
It's a really good book though.
Yeah,
I would
I've heard
definitely
it's a really
recommend
good book.
if you have an interest in like where we messed up as a species.
I've heard it's a really good book.
*Sapiens*.
Well, yeah, this whole thing with the solar power versus the environmentalists trying to protect this endangered species reminds me of Princess Mononoke is a great, great movie. It's one of my favorite movies I saw. It was the first Studio Ghibli movie I saw. It's always stuck with me. I've watched it multiple times. But that's such a fantastic movie because it, first of all, Miyazaki is so amazing at creating these really, really dynamic characters. So the villain of the movie, she's proposed to you as the villain, what you see, but you see she's this woman that wants to try and do something good for this group of people who are society outcasts.
I need to watch it again.
It's really good.
We should do a movie night.
Yeah, we should.
It's on HBO Max. Andrew
We should
says so.
do that. Let's do it. Let's do Princess Moon. We can do that tonight. Let's do Princess Mononoke movie night after the stream. I even showed this to Bishop. I don't know if he's here anymore, but he doesn't even like animated films, and he loved it. But in the movie, this woman who's presented as this villain for doing something good, but she's hurting the planet at the same time. And it's kind of this, well, is what she's doing going to be better for the long run? And I think this is the argument at stake here with this. And I'm sure, but I feel like there are enough cons against solar energy that you couldn't justify further contributing to the extinction of this endangered species.
After having some conversations, both in Discord and in just voice of people here and in the chat, like Michael,
Right.
I'm just convinced nuclear is the way to go. We
Yeah.
just need to go full nuclear. Y'all have convinced me. Flex is an atoned person.
Yeah.
I do listen, and I am able to be taught. But
Although
nuclear
make
all the way.
sure there's got to be some heavy regulations too.
Well, yeah.
You don't want
You don't want Chernobyl.
Exactly. You don't want
3.4
some
Rotkin.
company you don't want Walmart creating a nuclear reactor on the cheap.
Or do you? I'm
Why
just
is
saying.
that?
That's a theory. A flex theory.
Res says the main hero in Mononoke Hima is part of a tribe of indigenous Caucasians that were all but eradicated from Japan. Oh wow, is that true? Is that what that's based
Huh.
on? Or is that just the lore for the movie? Because that would be crazy.
That is crazy wild.
William Hacking says Hydro is legit underrated. So William, a couple weeks ago, Michael posted a video in the Discord about how Denmark is so heavily, their main goal is to go wind power all the way. And then wind power will also convert to heat energy because the problem with renewable energy is there's no way to store it. So they want to capture it as wind power and then turn it into heat energy through water. And then you can use that heat energy as a surplus when there's no wind or it's not gathering energy as quickly. So energy is a great topic. Actually, there's a book that someone recommended we look at. They posted it on one of the videos. I'm probably just going to have to take an audiobook version of that and listen to it on the way to work. I have got so many books. This is a book I'm going to talk about tonight that I'm trying to get through. But yeah, I love that. It's wonderful. There's been so much input. We've learned so much from what you guys have shared. If you ever come across anything that you think it would be beneficial for us to learn about, then definitely let us know because it's a topic that it's very important right now, especially with everything that's going on. Energy is just going to become that much more of a thing that everyone should know about. So yeah, thank you.
So I've looked up the Ainu.
Mm-hmm.
Ainu.
I know.
There's legit like
Oh,
an
wow.
indigenous group of Japanese people.
Wow.
They're not entirely Caucasian. It's kind of a mix of Caucasian and Asian because they were kind of like Russian, Japanese, indigenous. Yeah, and they've been like almost completely
Wow, I had
eliminated.
no idea it was based on that.
25,000 total.
Oh wow, Rez says the funky art style for the Ancients in Zelda Breath of the Wild is based on artifacts from one of the wiped out native tribes of Japan. Wow, I had no idea. That is crazy.
That is wow.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Rez. I'll
We'll have
look
to do some
into that
research.
afterwards. Yeah, you should post that
Yeah.
link.
It's Wikipedia. I'll post it in the
Do
Discord
it.
right now.
And thank you, Rez,
Here
for
I go.
sharing that. So let's see what.
Hold on, excuse me. I'm sharing a
Alright.
link.
Tiara says people from Okinawa are also a separate ethnicity. I didn't know that either. I don't know enough about indigenous tribes. I don't know anything. I shouldn't say enough. I don't know anything about indigenous tribes in Japan.
Accurate.
I guess every
either.
single country would have them, though.
Yeah.
Wow, I'll definitely read more about that. That's really interesting.
Well, like I do feel like that's one thing that video games like Crusader Kings and Civilization kind of get right.
Right.
If you look at what happens when a superpower comes to be, the expansion and then colonization and elimination of
Right.
everything else destroys the culture.
Oh, yeah.
Eliminates the people.
Right.
Like we see it. We can see it in the games we play.
Right.
In the movies we watch. Like colonization
Oh,
is
yeah,
like
no.
it's glorified.
I learned about this from Outlander of all things.
Yeah.
I learned about the conflict between British and Scotland people where there was I'm sure it's gone after there was this big war of Culloden, but basically there used to be the Scottish Highlander culture. And they were just destroyed and forced to assimilate after this big war between the Scottish and British. Even the French helped the Scottish,
Yeah.
I think, came to their aid. But yeah, that's absolutely... It's crazy what you do learn about. That's one thing media, I know we said last week that I don't like it when media has to, like what Call of Duty is doing by
Well, that's
reanimating.
disrespectful.
Right, exactly. But when you have media that is telling a story based on things, that's completely different, I think. But yeah, we do have a lot to learn about. And that's just a great way to bring it to the people,
Totally.
I think.
So, in a little bit more modern, recent history, a man was paid at funerals to give messages from the
Yes.
afterlife called the Coffin Confessor.
Yes,
You want to tell
the
us a little bit about
Coffin
that?
Confessor. I will tell you about it. If you can look up, I wish I saved. Let me see if I can look up this page because I want to read an excerpt from this guy.
Is this like seeking a friend for time travel?
Well, okay, so what happened is, okay, here it is. There is this man, and this happened, so maybe Anya knows about this, but in Australia. So this man in Australia he was a private investigator, and one of his clients was close to death, and he said, look, I want you to go to my funeral, and I want you to say some things, and I'm going to pay you money. I'm going to pay you, it was $7,300. And he wanted him to get up during the speech at his funeral and call out his friend. He wanted him to say that, let's see, where was it? Oh yeah, okay, here it is. He told me he wanted me to crash the funeral and that he would pay me $7,300 to do exactly what he asked. I was to interrupt the funeral when his best friend was reading the eulogy and to tell his best friend to sit down and shut up. Then I was to explain to everyone that I had something to say on behalf of the deceased. And this is after his client already died.
Yeah. I mean, $7,000 to a dead person is nothing.
Right, exactly. I then outed the best friend for trying to sleep with the deceased wife. I asked 3 mourners who were at the funeral to stand up and make themselves known. And then I told them to get lost because as far as my client had been concerned, they shouldn't have been at the funeral.
Wow, that's awesome.
So he put on this huge scene at the
I
funeral,
love it.
doing exactly what the client wanted. And now it's like a trend. And he's for hire to do this at
This
funeral.
is like Wrinkles the Clown?
Yeah. So you can hire this guy. Yeah, Duncan says that's good money. That is absolutely good money.
Yeah.
I would do that.
I could
if
see-
someone said,
I could see you
I would
doing that.
totally do that. I would love to do that.
You show up
actually.
in like all black with a veil,
I
kind of
think-
Audrey Hepburn style,
Yeah.
and then you lift it up and you say, "I have a confession to make
That
to all
would-
of you." You would
that
eat
would
it
be
up.
amazing.
You'd eat it up.
So this guy, the coffin confessor, he will even interpret feelings of what the deceased is feeling and talk about it.
That's
So
amazing.
I would totally do this. I think that's great. Andrew says, I feel like you could just make things up with this method. No one's going to debate you if you're dead. Yeah, that's true.
That
you
is
could
true.
make things up. I don't know why you would do that though, because you're not going to get paid for it. You at least.
Well, yeah, I could pay someone $7,000 to show up to my funeral and be like, "You'll never find out where he buried the gold, but I have a hint. It's underneath a tree by the river where he spent his childhood."
TR says, you only have to follow the wishes of the deceased within reason, i.e. dividing the estate. Everything else you can say FO to. Yeah, that's true. There are some things that you have to respect, but I think it'd be a great entertainment at a
Heck yeah.
funeral.
Absolutely.
Andrew says,
I'm
please
going to
do
pay
it.
for it. Yeah, I think it's
I
a
think
worthwhile
it's
endeavor.
great.
Send them all on a wild goose
Yeah.
chase for treasure. So speaking of treasure, former Facebook monetization director Tim Kindle says it was made to be addictive as cigarettes.
Yes. So we don't have Facebook accounts.
No.
We've very long spoken up against Facebook. If you have a Facebook account,
You're probably not a
consider
millennial.
deleting it. But yeah, that's true. But so the monetization director of Facebook, who doesn't work there anymore, he works for this app called Memento, which is a time-saving app or time management app, which is ironic coming from Facebook.
Yeah.
Where you just made
A time
to waste
wasting
time.
app.
But he said that they developed Facebook to feel as addictive as cigarettes. And they wanted you to feel like you had to get your hit and you had to keep checking and you had to stay connected.
Well, that was like that program we watched on Netflix.
Right.
What was that? The Social Dilemma.
The social dilemma.
Where they had Pete from Mad Men basically play
Yes.
the algorithm.
Right.
And feed you the content.
They personified what it was like for how the algorithm works and the little ways in which it keeps you coming back. So for example, they would say a way to get you to check your Facebook would to say, oh, well, let's just show them that one of their friends joined. Oh, a app on your phone says, hey, so-and-so just joined, say hi. And that's a tactic that they use
To get you
you
back
to
in.
coming back. Right, because
I keep getting out and they keep pulling me back
exactly,
in. To quote a
because
movie.
their main job is to keep you
Yes.
on Facebook so they can get that ad revenue, get information about you. So I thought that was really interesting. It kind of tied up with something else I want to put on the list.
Facebook versus Ireland.
Facebook versus Ireland.
The fight of the century.
Yeah,
Who will win?
I would watch that.
Fate decides.
In a wrestling match, Facebook versus
Sunday,
Ireland.
Sunday.
Absolutely.
Facebook versus Ireland. One walks in, two walk out. I think that's wrong. Let's
Well-
definitely reverse that.
Yeah, two walk in, one walks out.
The other is a crappy application.
And this isn't just Ireland. I think this is the EU. There is a pushback against Facebook because Facebook is taking users' data from the EU and deporting it back to America. So there is this desire to block them from taking EU information and putting it back to America. And Facebook is very upset about it. They said they're going to threaten not to operate anymore over there. Facebook and Ireland or Instagram just won't work over there. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Very interesting.
Things to keep an eye on.
I
I'm
think
sure-
Apple's very tempted to get rid of Facebook as well, from what I've heard, because it takes too much personal information and it's on too
Wow.
much on the phone. And
Yeah.
Apple, in their latest release, I don't know if you got the latest iPhone release. It actually like tells you. There's little lights now that says your mic is being used, your camera's
Oh,
being used, your
wow.
location's being used, and there's like for each thing now, there's an
Yeah.
icon that says like your information's being taken
Wow.
from you, which I like.
That's crazy.
I like that. I like knowing that.
I like that no one likes Facebook. Although I haven't seen if anyone in the comments likes Facebook.
I haven't seen one positive thing about Facebook.
Ninja Land says, hey, hi Ninja Land.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Welcome to the
Although I will say we probably have right now a majority of non-Americans watching. So if you know anything about this, you can definitely let us know because you guys know more about it than we do. Tiara says Facebook can fall into the sea along with California.
Oh, don't joke about that, Tiara. That's gonna happen.
Tiara, someone is from California right above you.
There's a mega
I can't
quake
say anything.
that's just on the verge of happening. Those poor people.
Hydrosource
Andrew, we got to get you out of there before the mega quake.
General Data Protection Regulation, that's what it's called.
GDPR.
Interesting.
I know a thing or two about it.
Wow.
I might know it like inside and out.
Well, that's it.
Yes.
Anya says, positive for me is I can get in contact with my sister who is interstate. Oh, that's great. Oh, on Facebook. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I do. I know a lot of people. Well, we've talked about someone out there should just create a phone book app that's like Facebook,
yes,
but without all the stupid other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just for talking to family. It's just for connecting with friends, and just keep it at that.
But I feel like that the phone gives you that with the address book.
Well, a phone just for chatting though, so you can keep track of all your
But
conversations.
you could like create group text.
That's too complicated.
Discord?
They need something that rivals Facebook.
Everyone I want to talk to is on Discord.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about something for the people who don't. It's very user friendly for older people and for grandmas.
That's fair.
And
That's
things
fair.
like that for now.
I haven't talked to my grandparents in a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, we need this. We need the phone book app.
We need that phone book
That would
app.
be great. Pyle says, "Isn't that WhatsApp?" I've heard of WhatsApp, but
Isn't
I don't
that
know
owned
enough
by?
about
I think that's
it.
owned by China.
Possibly. I don't know enough about WhatsApp though.
Oh no, that's WeChat. Never mind.
WeChat, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what.
We don't
I've
know
heard of
about
WhatsApp.
that. William Hacking says, I feel like Instagram would be good alternative except it's owned by, yeah. That's exactly it.
Andrew and Tiara
Instagram
says
is
WhatsApp's owned by Facebook.
wow.
There you go.
That's crazy. Tiara says, but they aren't touching it.
Huh.
Oh, and
That means that the data they're getting from that app is
not-
far more valuable than what they could gain by making it better.
Wow, that's interesting. Ninja says, I was watching a Studio Ghibli movie with a friend when I checked Facebook the next day and it advertised me to buy the Studio Ghibli collection. That is freaky. That's creepy.
So if you leave Google Chrome open or running on Windows, it will collect everything you say.
Well, I have to say, for our stream last week, when we talked about how I only need Andy Samberg in small amounts, on my recommended YouTube video, there was a video for Andy Samberg.
Well, so clearly it's not that bright. Although Andrew mentioned earlier to watch The Great Hack on Netflix, and I doubly recommend that because the way that certain analytical firms can collect, correlate, and then manipulate people based on the information they collect is terrifying. And that's a fantastic program on Netflix that explains all that way better than I ever could.
Look in that one.
Yes.
Aww.
Okay.
Red says, I'm too old for grandparents and have no son or kids. Oh, sorry, significant other or kids. And the rest of your comment left off, so that just sounds depressing.
Chat too fast, slow down.
Noble says, hey guys, hope you and everyone is doing well. A positive I found about Facebook is that I have a lot of freelance jobs when I was self-employed. Hi, Noble. Great to see you, buddy. And thank you. That is a great positive thing. I asked for positives about it. So I'm glad to see that some people have had a benefit. That is good.
I'm sure there's good in there.
Right.
But yeah, I think the problem is it needs to be not regulated, but it needs to be more serving of its audience.
Right.
It needs to better those
Exactly.
that use it and not lead them down the algorithmic path of destruction.
Yeah. Duffin says, download Ghostery and you can shut off Facebook's trackers and prevent Facebook from collecting.
Doubly recommend Ghostery.
Ghostery.
They
It sounds
think,
cool.
They think I'm a woman.
Wow. Because they can't get you. That's funny.
Ghostery is phenomenal.
Mr. Telly says, I looked up keyboards to buy and all of a sudden Facebook advertised keyboards to me, including ones I looked at.
Like,
see, they're all connected somehow. They're definitely
I'm
all
looking up,
connected.
like Sonic the Hedgehog, deep lore. What's the point of Mario Sunshine? And they still can't figure out that I'm like, a middle-aged man who likes video games. That's how good Ghostery is. So
wow, Ghostery.
I do
Thanks,
recommend.
Duffman. Rockwell says regulated is a good term, otherwise they won't respect the individual. Yeah, regulated is a great term. Regulated. That's going to be the new term.
The first 3 words of the Second Amendment are well regulated.
Wow. Whoa.
That was a really bad Twilight Zone episode. Moving on, we have finished the news. It's taken us a bit, but we've gotten through it.
Bishop says, can you tell us how you got your hair so perfect? Thanks, Bishop.
What's your secret?
No, it's actually not perfect though. I told you. I tried to wear it curly, but there's I have to go through all these stages. I have to go through so many stages if I'm going to wear it curly, which include so many different steps. But it didn't work, and so I tried to fix it, and it looks like freaking Hermione Granger. But
Yeah, but
whatever.
that means you're a wizard.
A witch.
Warlock.
Only wizards are men.
You're a wizard. Can I tell?
You're a witch.
You're
But
a
you
witch.
can't even say that. You can't even say, oh my gosh, you look like a glorious witch.
Oh, you look absolutely witchly today.
If someone says you look like an amazing witch,
I love your witch fingers.
I would take that as a compliment.
Your nose
for
is
sure.
witching.
I would. Rogbull says, sure it wasn't directed to Flex. What's that?
What? 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 Oh, the hair
Oh,
comment?
the hair comment. That was definitely for me.
No, well now Bishop says the question was directed at Flex. What was the question?
Wow, you're mean.
What was the question?
The hair. How'd you get your hair so perfect?
Oh, this is terrible. I don't have product in it right now. I usually
Yeah.
when I want to look nice, I'll put a little bit of
Little
paste
paste.
and do it up and to the right. But now it's just free.
Yeah.
And it's wild. It's
I
that
like it this
wild
way, though.
Italian hair.
That's cute this way.
Thank you.
It's
Your hair looks absolutely witchly.
My hair looks like a witch. Okay, that was the news.
That was the news.
That almost took like an
An
hour to
hour.
get through, but it was great news, and I hope you learned something. I learned something.
Our next-
Rez shared great things about indigenous people of Japan that I'm going to go.
We're gonna break this into 2 streams. The first stream's gonna be called 50 minutes, and we just
50
talk about the
minutes.
news.
Yeah, that's it. 50 minutes. So what's next?
What is
Movies.
next? Movies.
Let's just get this one movie out of the way.
Let's do it. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Because poor Tiara, we made
Poor Tiara. Blessed Tiara.
and poor William Hacking.
Blessed
because
William Hacking.
Both of them watched this movie. They stayed
Phenomenal.
up late
Bless
to
him.
watch this movie called I'm Thinking of Anythings by Charles Kaufman.
I like how you call him Charles. I think he'd like that too.
Charles Kaufman. This movie was advertised to me as a horror movie.
Well, if you watch the trailer, it's got very horror type elements.
You start watching the movie, you're 40 minutes and you think, oh my gosh, something crazy is going on. You continue watching the movie for the next hour and 45 minutes.
And you think, oh my gosh, something crazy will happen. It will.
And nothing ever happens. I'm not even
I disagree.
spoiling. I'm not even spoiling
I disagree.
the movie.
You do
No,
end.
you don't.
You end
No.
with a phenomenal dance and music number.
No.
It was good.
It was obtuse.
It was obtuse.
This was the example of a director trying to make something as difficult as possible to follow because he thinks he's being clever. And I hate that. I hate when someone has
You
to be...
loathe it.
He made David Lynch seem normal.
He did make David Lynch seem normal. Like, I will say
He
this.
made David
this
Lynch
movie
seem
makes
linear.
David Lynch seem super approachable,
Yes.
and I kind
Right.
of love it.
I didn't even dislike the movie. I didn't hate it. But yeah, thank you. Tiara says, to be fair, a half-hour long poem. Yes,
15 minutes
there's
of random movie review. A musical number, a dance scene, a naked man with an animated pig.
A lot
It's actually
of stuff
quite
happens.
wonderful.
A lot of stuff happens in this movie. Rez says that movie title sounds really dark. It does. It sounds dark. You think it's going to be horror.
Well, the
You
premise
think it's
is
going
quite
to...
dark.
It's based on a book. Had they just followed the plot of the book, it would have been a much better movie. I can't even say it was a bad movie, though. It was just so poorly executed.
Yes, it's a very well-produced movie because I love the music, I love the sound, I love
Right.
the acting, I love the visuals. I loved everything about the movie except the delivery of the plot.
Yes, the delivery of the plot, it was just way too strung out.
7 out of 10, too much ice cream.
It was 2 hours and 30 minutes. It should have been an hour and 30 minutes.
Yes, I agree.
Maybe 2 hours tops, but it was just too long for what it was. Pyle says, hot take, you know those crappy Unity games in 2014 that was YouTuber bait where the twist is you're the killer? This is that kind of movie. Oh, I think I know what you're
We
talking about.
played one of those, remember? Remember the one where you go in the mine and the guy asks you the
Oh,
questions?
yeah,
And then you
yeah.
go, yeah.
Right. I liked that game.
That was good.
though.
That was a good
That
game.
was a fine game.
I
That was
enjoyed it.
fine.
We
Yeah.
gotta do October horror
We do.
stream again.
We have to do that.
Yeah, there's some good. We gotta play like
Yeah.
Blair Witch.
Oh my gosh. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Something's going on out there. Some horns honking.
There's some horns honking. Yeah, we'll do that. Mr. Telly says, off topic, speaking of if things that don't happen, does anyone remember the Resident Evil something's gonna happen moment? Yes, I remember that. When
I also
couldn't
remember
go down
Alien
the hallway-
Isolation. It's 20 more minutes.
Yeah, someone told us 20 more minutes, and it ended up being like
4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah,
long.
that was the longest
Like
20
guys,
minutes of
just
my
keep
life.
playing the game. Yeah. Hydra said Lynch normal. Okay, you're saying the bar high. Yeah. Wait, high as in good Hydrosaur, as in you're looking forward to seeing this
Hydrosaur
film?
cannot wait to watch this movie, is what I'm hearing.
Hydrosaur, tu veux regarder ce film s'appelle I'm Thinking of Ending Things? Was that good?
Oui.
He'll tell me. My French people will tell me.
I'm thinking of moving on to the next
Thinking
movie.
of Ending Things. All right, next movie.
Le Samourai.
Le Samourai.
Le Samourai.
You pronounce the L-E like le.
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 Not with your lips like that.
Le.
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 It was a great movie.
Fantastic movie.
1967,
Yes.
I believe, or 1961, early
67.
1960s French film. And it was just so amazing. So we watched this for our Classic Movie Sundays. And I have to say, I love the massive turnout we have for Classic Movie Sundays.
It's great.
I think we had about 12 people last week. And we're all watching this film together. And it's great because no one's talking over the film. We're all just on mute and we're all just typing our things in the chat. But it was such an enjoyable movie. So well
Great
done.
movie.
And then, so this is a movie where
It's also slightly obtuse.
ambiguous.
Yes.
It's ambiguous because it at least has a linear plot and they're not throwing you red herrings and things like that.
Yes. What you see is what you get with that movie. There is
Right.
no well, there is absolutely hidden details.
There is hidden details and there is things that you want to learn about afterwards. Rogville says chirp. Yes. The bird. There is a great bird plot. It's just such a fantastic movie. Highly recommend it. Called Le Samourai. And it was just amazing. I loved
Yes.
it.
And I posted a very good explainer
Right.
to kind of clear up some of the questions at the end.
Yeah.
Like what's kind of amazing about that movie is it's definitely one that's meant to be watched multiple times because you'll pick up on things that you
little
missed the first time
details.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful too. Beautiful, just Technicolor, gorgeous film to look at. I very much recommend that. And if you guys, Ninja says, how do you join Classic Movie Sundays? We do it over Discord. So I'll have Flex post a link to the Discord and you can join that.
Yeah,
Ninja.
we usually post at the end of the stream.
Well, you could just post it now. It's fine.
Well, I mean, I got to keep the list up. And if you want me to go and,
Look, so much work.
it's a lot for me.
He's doing all of this
I have
for
to
you,
go in
Ninja.
here. I have to catch the link. Now I
Felix
copy
says
the
that
link.
60s movie.
Gotta come back. Post in
That
the
60s
chat.
movie. It's great. So every Sunday we watch films together, but this one was great. If you guys were all there, then it was really, really good. It was really enjoyable. Duffman says France and Japan have always had an interesting relationship with Japanism and all. France has a lot of really interesting relationships with a lot of countries. France is kind of just,
France is where we're going next.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to go to France.
She speaks French. I do not, if that hasn't become abundantly clear.
Oh, I'm learning a little.
Yeah.
But
You'll have to teach me.
yeah. L'année prochaine.
I never realized how
L'année
big.
prochaine, nous allons visiter France.
I never realized how big French was until I started playing Crusader Kings. They
Yeah.
literally take up half the map. A lot of land in France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love France. So, Duffman in all caps says, "Don't just go to Paris. Don't worry, I won't. I also want to go to where they have all of the beautiful lavender fields. They're so pretty. I used to work for a French company, and the lavender fields was like our iconic poster. We had them everywhere in the shop. So I blame my job with that company for being so interested in France. Also, I think my dad's biological parents are French. But what else is on the next? That was movies. So we're done talking about movies
We're
tonight.
done with some movies. Now let's talk about
Also,
some.
I have to say one thing.
Yeah.
Rez says the USA owes France a lot. They helped us out. They gave us a statue, baguettes. Yes.
Yes.
So we watched Hamilton, and my favorite character in Hamilton was Lafayette. And he
Yes.
had this great singing segment. That's such an enjoyable
David Diggs.
play. Yeah, he was fantastic. But yeah, Lafayette was my favorite character in Hamilton.
All right, let's talk about some television.
Television.
Speaking of Hamilton, TV,
TV.
The Boys 2.
The Boys too.
Not
So
great.
I was told Rogbull said that the next episode of The Boys was very good. So episode 6, he says things happen.
Isn't that today?
Yeah. So we're not going to spoil anything, but we've been watching the second season of The Boys. We loved the first season of The Boys. Thought it was fantastic. The second season started out strong for us, but we have kind of lost a little bit of interest in it because they seem to be backtracking on a lot of character development in season 1. Characters they don't really have a goal, they don't really have a purpose, we don't know what they're doing.
It's backsliding.
They're dragging it out too.
Yeah.
So sometimes episodes don't have to be an hour long, and I don't know what set the standard for having hour-long episodes. What was that?
HBO.
Are you sure it wasn't
Well,
Lost?
no, it
Did
was
Lost have hour-long episodes?
Way before then, because Twin Peaks was an hour long. It's prestige television.
Didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, it's prestige television.
We looked this
the,
up.
The
but
first episode, hour-long episode was like
Western?
1960s
Yeah.
Western. Yeah.
Right, we talked about this before because we have complained about the hour-long episode before. Tiara says the UK had hour-long episode series, and you copied. We copied a lot. Haven't we taken The Office from the UK?
If it's good and it exists somewhere else, we're going to remake it in our own native tongue.
Yeah, we
even
did
if
that
it's
for
our
Girl
still
with the
native
Dragon's
tongue.
Hack 2. Actually, there's another show Amazon just did called, it's some sort of conspiracy theory that was a UK series. There's a man in a rabbit mask.
I don't know it.
I forget what it's called. Maybe Tiara. Utopia. Thank you, Tiara. Yes. So there is a show in the UK called Utopia that Amazon Prime is now doing over here. So yeah, I don't know. Rockwell says 40-minute standard was just so they could put in 20 minutes of commercials on the hour. But yeah, so for The Boys, I just feel like the episodes are dragging. So Rockwell, thank you. I'm glad to hear episode 6 has some stuff because we're kind of losing.
I honestly,
interest.
I said last week after we watched the episode, like I could not watch this show again and not care less.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it anymore.
Right.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've directly done some really weird character assassination on the show or things that just don't make sense. So we'll see how that goes though. Sorry, let me scroll up a little bit. Tiara says, please just watch the UK one. It's very, very good. Tiara, I read that exact thing in the comments for the Utopia trailer. People just said, just don't watch this one. Watch the UK one. So I will.
Firstly,
and Duncan says, American version, the IT Crowd. That's another show that we took, isn't it? Because the IT Crowd was
that's British.
English
I didn't even
show.
know there was an American version.
I think
That's a terrible idea. That's a horrible idea. Why do we do this?
I don't know.
I've never had a problem with subtitles, but I've been able to read since, like 7 years of age. So that was not a problem for me. But it really boggles the mind when we feel the need to remake shows that are already in our language. It's in our language. Just broadcast it here.
Because there's a difference between British humor and American humor.
Yes, theirs is better.
That is, yeah, I would agree. A lot of I'm watching 2 British shows right now. 3. I'm watching 3 British shows right now.
Monty Python came from Britain.
So, but it's different humor.
Shaun of the Dead.
Because I think when mainstream American humor, you think of things like
Andy Samberg.
Reba.
Reba McEntire? We said funny.
Or Roseanne.
Not boring.
But those are American staples.
Oh, wow.
I actually let me say, we have a great sitcom that is American that we didn't take from anybody else.
Arrested Development.
That has been around since the 50s.
The Simpsons.
I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy
Yes.
is so funny. That show, to me, Lucille Ball is a fantastic, incredible human being. Mm-hmm. She was just amazing. But she was such an amazing comedian. If you haven't seen I Love Lucy, that show totally holds up even to this day. She's such like this mischievous scamp, and you have to think, in the time of the when the show aired, how daring that would have been to have this housewife who is pushing back against the boundaries in which she's expected to stay. She's sneaking out, trying to get into her husband's performances, or trying to do all. She's just fantastic, and that's an amazing sitcom that I don't think we've been able to have anything that iconic since. But yeah, that is The Boys.
That is The Boys. An okay show. A fantastic show. Actually, I accidentally just clicked on one because there was an update, and now the pencil's being weird, so I'm not going to use that anymore.
Weird.
Ratched.
Ratched? There's a show on
shouldn't have been
Netflix
made.
that shouldn't have been made, called Ratched, as a nurse Mildred Ratched.
From One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
A
Nest.
tremendously good movie that did not need a prequel show.
It has its prequel show, but this prequel show is like American Horror Story. It has,
Andrew says Ratchet and Clank.
yeah, I wish. So I haven't seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I know what happens. I know
What?
Jack Nicholson is in it. We should have a movie night.
That's a great movie. That's a classic movie.
Let's watch it.
That should be Sunday's movie.
Let's watch it. We're gonna watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That
on
is truly
Sunday.
a classic.
That's perfect.
Perf. He's so
Done.
young.
Young Jack Nicholson is creepy though.
Because he's handsome.
He's handsome, but he's also got this like mischievous face.
Yes, that is him in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Wow.
Faux show.
Okay, so yeah, Sunday movie. We're gonna watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but the show Ratched is about Mildred Ratched, who is the nurse in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and it's her story. And it is just, I did watch the entirety of the show. I
did watch the entirety of something I hated.
I didn't hate it. I had it on in the background while I was doing things, while I was calling up charities and asking them to remove me from their paper mailing list, putting me only on their email list. So, but I did watch the entirety of the show. It wasn't good. Did I enjoy it? Was I invested? Yeah. I was. Sue me.
All right.
But it was cheap.
It looked terrible.
It was not
I
good.
caught a couple of
It was not good.
blinks while I was eating cereal
No, it
over
wasn't
there.
good.
It looked awful.
It wasn't a good show.
I like Sarah Paulson,
Yeah, Sarah Paulson's great.
but looked
It was,
awful.
It was a terrible show. It was not good. It was awful.
My weekly TV update is I started watching the next season of JoJo, despite my best interest, and I love it.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
You love it?
Diamond is forever. Diamond hard. The hardness of Diamond. I don't know what it's called, but it takes place in like a little Japanese town. It's like a murder mystery, slightly horror based. Incredibly colorful. It looks like
Wow.
Parappa the Rappa.
That's cool.
Love it, love it, love it. So good. Give me that JoJo.
So you watched something you really liked.
I love JoJo.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
And we've been watching something together that we really like. We've actually been watching it with a couple people.
Right. And we've talked about this before. Tiara is actually the one who told me to watch it because based on her recommendation.
Diamond is Unbreakable. Thank you, Duffman and William Hacking.
Diamond.
I knew it was a James Bond sounding title.
Yeah.
Yes.
That does sound like a James Bond title. Rez really quickly says, speaking of horror, have you guys ever watched the miniseries Salem's Lot?
I have.
There's a miniseries called Salem's Lot.
Yes.
Because I was going to say we started watching Castle Rock.
Season
2, which is about Salem's Lot.
So
which we should probably get back to.
I had a mild obsession with Salem's Lot when I was younger. Read the book. I watched.
I think correct me if I'm wrong, but every young man goes through a Stephen King obsession period. Because my brother went through that with The Shining. He was obsessed with The Shining.
Well, it's because Stephen King is probably like the greatest writer of all time.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, and you look at how the man writes,
Right.
he writes in the most digestible way. You could be a completely non-educated person, and you can be a PhD scholar.
And
Come to
so-
Stephen King and walk away feeling like that
Right.
was an amazing story experience.
That's how I feel about the R.L. Stein Goosebumps series, though.
Yes! Ahead of its curve.
Way ahead of its time.
Absolutely. Slappy?
Way ahead of its time.
Unbelievable.
Goosebumps was great.
Say cheese and die?
What I want for Christmas is the entirety of the R.L. Stein Goosebumps collection. I want to put it on the shelf.
You
I
hear
would
that?
love that.
You hear that, fam? You know what Kai Sales wants for Christmas.
I want the entirety of the Goosebumps book.
The entirety of Goosebumps.
I have a ton, actually, at my parents' house. But yeah, that would be great.
Someone asked me if I knew what the naming convention of JoJo was. I don't. I missed your comment. I'm sorry. Please tell me what the naming convention of JoJo is.
Matthew
Also,
is online, says, Say Cheese and Die was amazing. Yes, another Goosebumps title.
Also, that show was great.
That show was
Dun, dun,
fantastic.
dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. Goosebumps.
It was Goosebumps versus Are You Afraid of the Dark?
But I didn't have cable, so it was just Goosebumps.
Wow. No, Goosebumps is great. I'm a total Goosebumps
Fox Kids, baby.
girl.
The original question, though, was have you watched the miniseries Salem's Lot? So,
Yeah, sorry.
yes, I
We
have.
got way too far
But I
off.
watched the bad. I guess it wasn't bad. There was a remake of the miniseries. I saw that first. Didn't know there was original. Thankfully, Twisted Bishop in the chat saved me. It allowed me to watch the original miniseries, which was
Yeah.
also great. That vampire's so well done.
Yeah. we
Love me
love
some
it.
Salem's Lot.
Tiara says, I love Goosebumps, also Animorphs. Animorphs, oh my gosh, yes.
I got a confession.
What?
I've never read an Animorphs.
I loved Animorphs. I think Animorphs was geared more towards girls.
Really?
I think so, because there was like some love interest stuff going on there. I remembered a couple of the characters. They had like a crush on each other. It was great. Animorphs was fantastic. Oh my gosh, this is like bringing back so many memories for me. Yeah, Animorphs was I loved that series too. That was great. Duffman says, loved Animorphs, the best kids book series about war trauma there ever was. I don't remember the war trauma aspect of it. Now I'm thinking, I didn't even pick that up.
I heard that was like the entire point. Like, wasn't the author's intent to kind of represent
Oh wow,
children of war?
maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't even pick that up when I was reading that, but it's been a really long time. Rocker Gamer says Animorphs, yes. Look, this is great love for Animorphs in the chat here.
I'm an Animorphs ignorant fool. I
We
need
gotta
to
get Flex to read some Animorphs.
find me a
Is
good
there an
Animorphs and I'll read
Animorphs
it.
movie?
I hope not. That sounds like a bad idea.
Maybe there is. We should. William Hacking says this 4-hour lecture on YouTube about Animorphs. Wow, we should look that up. The comments are going so fast.
The comments
like,
are too
I couldn't
fast.
read
So
Anya.
I did catch the one
was from
call out for
Anya.
the Western. So I do know because
Uh-huh.
here's a weird thing about JoJo. Weird JoJo fact. New section of the stream.
Yeah.
In JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, most of the enemies and things in the world are based on Western culture rock music, which is what I grew up with. And Rocker
Yeah.
Gamer in the chat and I both were like heavily invested in this in our youth.
Yeah.
Knowing, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, everything from the classic rock spectrum. That was like the thing that I thought was cool. Interestingly enough, in JoJo, when they subtitle the show, they will remove the references. But if you have a trained ear, you hear them all because it's still Western American. Like they're
Right.
speaking Japanese, but Oingo Boingo is still American for Oingo Boingo.
Right.
Like I know that. I know who that is. And it's very weird because they'll change their name in the
Yeah.
subtitles. Like it won't say Oingo
Oh,
Boingo.
that's
It's like
weird.
I forget what their names is. It's like Gerald and Kumar. But
Right.
it's like I hear it. I hear it
Yeah.
right there. Like the REO Speedwagon Foundation. Like
Right.
I know
That's
what
cool.
REO Speedwagon is. Like get out of
Well,
here.
it would be your show because you like those American rock references.
Yes.
Oh, Anya says they had to change it because of copyright.
That's so weird.
Oh, that is interesting. Copyright's an interesting thing. That could be its own stream as well.
That really could. Copyright
But
sucks. and
what show were we
Disney's
talking about that
responsible.
we liked?
Raised by Wolves.
Raised by Wolves. We're continuing to watch Raised by Wolves. Highly recommend it. It's great. Great sci-fi. This is coming from someone who's not even a big fan of sci-fi, and I think it's great. I'm highly enjoying it, so
I love it.
I love it.
I love it to death.
Love
It's
it.
so good. Also, I realized I forgot to put a movie on, so we have to go back to movies.
Oh, what is it?
Bishop and I have been watching The Grudge. Ju-on The Grudge
I'm
series.
not gonna watch that.
I freaking love it. So the first Ju-on The Grudge, actually the Grudge is a 13-part series, we've now found out. Ju-on The Grudge is the fourth technically movie in the series. There's two 2-minute short films that are on YouTube, haven't watched them yet. Then there's Ju-on the Curse, Ju-on the Curse 2, and then Ju-on The Grudge. And all of them kind of set up the whole Kyako, who was the antagonist with the long black hair and the noise.
Creepy.
But you start on Ju-on the Grudge, and that is one of the most well-made horror movies I've ever seen. It does this like time jumping thing where the storytelling is not exactly linear, and it feeds you just normal human being characters. Who are
Right.
like, these are just hardworking, everyday Japanese citizens who are going to die a terrible, awful, horrific Ju-on death
That's terrible.
because they encounter this haunted house. It is like the best haunted house thing I've ever seen. I really like the show, but now that I've seen the movie, it's like I feel like I need to go back and rewatch the show again.
Yeah.
Because it's
now that
even
you
better.
know, right.
I will say, because we had heard the American remake, which is written and directed by the same guy that did Ju-on the Grudge in Japan, was just as good. Produced by Sam Raimi of The Evil Dead. That's a terrible movie. That's awful. I don't know who in their right mind thought the American version was better. It is not better. I have no desire to watch the sequel now.
Yeah.
I would like to watch Ju-on the Grudge Japanese sequel, but it's not streaming anywhere. So I gotta find a way. But ultimately,
Someone will know. If someone's seen it, they can tell you for sure.
this is all leading up to us being able to watch Kyako versus Sadako, which is The Grudge versus The Ring, Bring it on. I cannot wait.
We have to do this.
That's the grudged update.
Nicholas Paul has a comment that's directed somewhat more towards you. He says, "Hey, what's good? You guys look great. Oh, by the way, I haven't seen you guys in so long. I want to mention that Flex seems so confident and very expressive now. That's really nice. Hi,
Thank you.
Nicholas.
I've been working on both my confidence and expressiveness.
This is coming out.
I'm glad it's paying off. Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to show off
You
my
know what?
collarbone.
Something.
My clavicle.
So this is something that I learned about before I saw Crown, but The Crown on Netflix. But Princess Margaret, she was in love with Peter Townsend, who
Of
worked
the
for
who?
her father. Not Peter Townsend. What's his last name? Tiara. Peter who? What's his last name?
Pete Townsend from The Who?
Maybe. I think his name is Peter Townsend. Tiara will know. She loves that. But, okay, she doesn't know his name. Yeah, but he was on the show for so long. But, so, Princess Margaret, and this was caught on camera, she was in love with this man who worked for her father, the king. And there was a moment where she reached over and she, like, brushed something off his jacket. And that is what blew up all over, because they said that's such an intimate thing to do that you would not do that unless you knew the person.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so ever since then, that story has always stuck with me, even before I watched The Crown, but I heard about that. That is how her kind of love affair, but with him was busted, because there was footage of her leaning over
That is
and wiping
so
something off, because they
wild.
said that's a very intimate thing. You wouldn't do it to someone unless you had that connection, because it's something that you don't think about. It's just an unconscious thing that you do to someone that you're comfortable with.
Isn't it interesting how people obsess over the lives and well-being of other people to the point where they're like breaking down body language and analyzing what that means?
And they were doing that even way back then.
Been doing it since like the dawn of time.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just like
crazy.
critical body language evaluation.
That's crazy.
I do want to address Ninjaland XP said, Flex, have you seen The Wailing? Have we seen The Wailing?
Oh my gosh, Ninja Land. That movie is so fantastic. I don't even want to spoil this movie. It has one of the best representations of a very, very famous villain, you could say. But The Wailing was fantastic.
So good.
Great horror movie. Was that Indonesian? Or what was The Wailing, before we say?
Let's look it up.
The Wailing is a foreign film. It's just
I
absolutely...
thought it was Korean, but we will
we'll
find
definitely
out.
find out. That's a great one.
Love that. That's like one of my favorite
Yes,
all-time
I always forget to
horror
recommend
movies.
that horror movie.
South Korea.
South Korean. Okay.
Yes. And the
It's
great thing is it blends in
fantastic.
Korean culture
Yeah, it does.
to the horror mix.
Right, and not just, we're talking about there are aspects of it, like the spiritual ritual that they do in the movie. Really, really good movie. So
It's also like
that's a good
3
one.
hours long.
Yeah.
And it really like, it doesn't feel like 3 hours
it does not
long.
feel like, you're not checking the clock, you're not thinking, oh my gosh,
You're
when's this movie
engrossed
gonna be over?
in it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Rez says, is that a sequel to Train to Busan?
No, but that's an equally great movie.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I think
I've heard
it's streaming
good.
everywhere.
Yeah,
But I would put it in like top tier zombie movies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
very
We need
good.
some good zombie movies, because for a while it was so too much.
So many
Rocker
zombies.
Gamer says, great film. Yeah, The Wailing is fantastic. I
It
need
is.
to remember to recommend that one when people ask me for horror movie recommendations. Mr. Telly says horror movies are life. We're gonna start watching a lot of them for October.
Heck yeah.
Every week.
Every week, horror movies. Get
Every
ready.
week,
Here they
horror
come.
movies. We'll watch classic horror movies on Sunday, and then throughout the
Hereditary
week-
every other day.
No. Scary.
So scary.
Oh,
Speaking
Emerald
of,
says, ooh, Jess made it. Hi, Emerald! Yeah, we've just been talking about the news for the past hour.
well, now we're into
We're
television.
on shows, but glad to see you.
You can put your, I think you can put your phone in like do not
It is
disturb.
in airplane mode.
Well, not airplane. Do not disturb.
How do
And,
I do not disturb?
It's the little moon.
I'm not even gonna mess with it. I do have it on do not disturb.
Oh well, then I mean it shouldn't have happened. And that, well, no, actually, so do not disturb stops working if they call more than 3 times.
Well, she's also my emergency contact, so maybe that's why
Yeah.
it went past.
Well, she
it.
also calls more than 3 times.
My mom does call a lot. My mom calls a lot. Okay, thank you. At least I wasn't stuck on a really weird face this time. Last time I was stuck on an odd face. Pyle says, when are we watching Cats for horror movie night?
We've seen Cats once. That's all Cats we can do.
Cats is a one-time only.
That's a one-time shot. Yeah, Dark Crystal got canceled.
Wow. Duncan says conference are in. I'll tell you guys a funny story about my mom.
Let's do it.
Later, after. Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
Dive right in.
Funny
That's the hot
story
topic.
about my mom. But she doesn't understand the whole online thing at all. And
Oh, I know this story.
a few years ago, I was talking. Someone wanted to do some weird video internet collaboration with me or something like that. So I said, okay, fine, let's do it. And this was back when I was at my parents' house.
This is like pre-Kite Tales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was Kite Tails.
Oh, was it Kite Tales?
This was Kite Tails.
Okay.
But this was pre-Kite and Flex.
Right.
Before, we started doing our
Yeah.
own thing. So my mom, when I was on a voice chat with these people, my mom came in to my room and she held up a sign that said "Internet Predator?" ?
It's a good mom.
I'm a full-grown adult woman at this time, by the way. I wasn't like talking, You would worry maybe your 13-year-old is talking to someone. You're going to say, who are you talking to? So she came in there with this question mark, "Internet Predator?" ? During my interview. It was just I had to stop myself live during this thing. I don't know where that thing is, but.
It's out there somewhere.
So she doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I'll even say, "Oh yeah, we're playing games with our online friends." "Oh, okay. The online stuff, huh?" It's like, "Yep."
It's very dangerous.
She doesn't like it. She does not like. She doesn't like the online stuff.
He doesn't like it
It's a little
either.
creepy.
Smudge! Luna! Come here!
They don't like it.
There's some activity happening in the street area, and
Yeah, there's
they
something going on.
they can't stand activity of any kind.
Duncan says, "Was she presenting herself as internet predator?" No, she was just very, very concerned that I was somehow talking to internet predators, and maybe I hadn't thought about that. So she just wanted to keep it out there.
Yeah.
You might be talking to internet predators.
I mean,
That's
fair
fine.
call out.
That's fine. She
ain't
cares.
wrong.
So now what?
So the Dark Crystal's canceled.
The Dark Crystal.
It's still canceled. Nothing we can say or
It's
do is
canceled,
going to
but you
fix
said
that.
it was a great show.
Yeah, so let me back that up.
It's a Jim Henson show.
The movie's great. I love the movie.
Yeah.
And when I heard they're making a show, I'm like, this is like Red Dead Redemption.
Right.
Should not get a prequel. But then I watched the first episode and I'm like, this is actually great.
Right.
If I was a child, I would be all over this because it's definitely like a kid show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kid show. I would say it's kind of anime-esque, but I mean, it's done with puppets. And some of these
Right.
like really high
It looked
production
great.
value.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it had big name stars behind it.
Mm-hmm.
The girl from Split was like the main character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like there were some other big names in there as well. I don't remember the rest of them, but I really enjoyed it. And I think what happened was I watched the first episode, and then Netflix quit recommending it to me.
Wow.
So I forgot to
That's
watch it
sad.
because it didn't show up in my
Aw.
continue watching. It just disappeared.
Yeah.
So I never finished it, and then I heard it was canceled. Like, well, I really enjoyed that show, and I would have liked to have watched the rest of it had Netflix not betrayed me
Yeah.
and let me
That's
finish
sad.
it. Maybe I could have helped.
Man.
It's sad.
Well, it's not too late. Apparently, Tiara says it's not a kid's show. You stepped on some toes when you said that.
It's definitely a kid show.
You haven't seen all of it.
It's rated PG.
You don't know.
It's PG. No, it was like TV.
Tiara,
it was
can
like
you believe what we're
TVY7.
listening to?
It was TVY7 FV fighting
The
violence.
Crown is rated PG, and well, never mind. No, it's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. This is a show that is
Yeah,
made for
but-
children.
Tiara says you're a kid's show.
Correct. keep them coming, Tiara. Yeah.
Duncan says she's from the New Mutants. Oh, I heard the New Mutants wasn't good. That
Yeah, it
X-Men
looked
movie.
terrible.
I heard that. Well, I know X-Men just can't seem to really get its thing together.
Yeah, I think the
I
last.
think the thing that was so great about X-Men was Logan, right?
I didn't like Logan.
Well, Logan, that man with the facial hair.
Yeah, Logan.
What's his name?
The Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman. He was
That's
really
him.
good. He was really good as Logan, right?
Yeah, he was. I would say X-Men 1 and 2, the
Hey,
Bryan
Luna,
Singer movies are really
Luna,
good.
come here.
Look, Tiara's just trolling now.
Hi.
Just said Hereditary is a bad movie.
Wow. Yeah, now Tiara's trolling.
Firstly, not a kid's show. Hereditary, bad movie. Get out of here, Tiara.
Oh no, don't climb up.
Take your opinions elsewhere.
Can you guys please stop referencing that scene in Hereditary where she climbs the walls?
It's terrifying.
Every single time I forget it. Someone reminds me of it. Not you, baby. You're okay. Okay, so that was Dark Crystals,
Yes.
unfortunately.
So now let's talk about the only thing that's like coming out. We saw a trailer for Wandavision.
WandaVision,
Speaking of X-Men,
So that was with
she's an X-Man.
Wanda and
Vision.
Mysterium, yeah.
Vision.
They get married in the 1950s. They create their own universe.
Well, Vision's dead. I guess. Can we spoil Endgame? Is it okay?
I
to
think
spoil?
anyone that wanted to see it has seen it by now. Trust me. There's no.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about it.
Like 1 second of Endgame spoilers incoming. So at the end of Endgame, Cap goes and puts all the stones back. So how does he put the stone back if it's in Vision's head? So maybe this is like a Vision.
I thought Vision was Jarvis.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
In this MCU, that is correct.
Right. You're gonna have to pet her. Every time I stop petting her,
She cries a little.
well, her tail wags, which means like
Okay.
she's trying to indicate. So I thought the show looked good though, just based on
It looks fun.
the setting.
Yeah.
I love the 1950s black and white housewife thing. That's like my aesthetic. I love that. So I just hope the rest of the show is like that.
Well, there's that scene where it's in color and he's in his regular Vision attire and he goes up to the mom from the visit.
Right.
And he's like,
He says, "Are you alive?" And she's like, "I'm laughing because you're dead."
yeah,
Or something.
yeah. He's like,
Oh no, she's like, "Am I dead?" And he says, "Yes." Why wouldn't you
no,
be?
she says like, no, why would you be? And she says,
Right.
because you are. And I'm like, this is going to be a cool show.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of those
So
fun, like,
something is
maniac
going
type
on.
experiences.
Something will going on. Tiara says she's upset because she's really into Dark Crystal.
She did like Dark Crystal. We watched
poor
it together
Luna. That's
on the couch.
sad.
She watches JoJo with me too.
Anya says
We enjoy
WandaVision is
television.
all Wanda since she is one of the most powerful mutants. She's comparable to Phoenix.
Yes. She's the
So-
daughter of Magneto.
I like Wanda. If Wanda's dream scenario is the 1950s with her mutant man,
It also looks like they also go into 80s television too.
Yeah.
I saw like a very quick like
well, we'll see.
and they had the original costumes in that segment. You see like the original Scarlet Witch and the original Vision.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. I'm like, this is gonna be a cool show.
William Hacking says in the comics, Wanda has mad reality altering powers. Ooh, so that sounds interesting then.
Yes, and I think this is going
Reality altering power, that's a cool one then.
the rumor mill has it that this show is going to lead into the Doctor Strange mansions of madness multiverse
I did not
of
like
maniacs.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but we
I
have to. we
did
have
not
to
like
treat,
Doctor Strange.
We have to treat Wanda, Vision, Doctor Strange as like the pre-Infinity War Thor.
Right.
Like let the old die and then welcome in what the new people are doing with
I just
it.
don't
'Cause
like
it seems like they're doing a
Benedict
much better.
Cumberbatch as... I don't like Benedict's Cumberbatch.
He was a great Smaug.
I don't like his American voice.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like they should have just kept his regular voice.
Yeah.
That would have been such a better Doctor
But he's got a good
Strange
doctor voice. It's like his American voice is very doctor.
No, I
Yeah.
don't. If you have
Sounds
such
like a
a
doctor
great
to me.
voice like that, then why don't you just keep his voice and make him British Doctor Strange? You can deviate.
That's true.
You know.
That's very true.
But anyways, we'll see. if
That's
we
always
get
my
to
problem
that.
with Black Widow is like she should have a Russian accent.
Right. Exactly.
Like,
That's,
she should.
That's another thing.
And technically, so should Wanda. Wanda should have. I think it's because Wanda and Pietro, I believe, are Spanish because they're the children of Magneto.
Right.
And I always, when I read like the Ultimates, which featured them heavily, in my mind they had like a Spanish European
Mm-hmm.
accent, but maybe I'm just remembering that or I read it wrong.
Wow, Magneto has kids. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
Wanda or Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver
Wow.
are his kids, his children's.
Oh yeah, Quicksilver. There's so much lore. New Mutants, all that.
And then
weird
Professor X has Legion.
We don't need to talk about Professor X's son. Duncan says Cumberbatch calls penguins penguins. That's kind of cute.
That is kind of cute.
Is that just because he messes it up or he can't pronounce it? Bishop says, did you see that Emily Blunt might be Black Widow in Multiverse?
That's awesome.
I like Emily Blunt.
I do
though.
too. Way better than Scarlett
Again,
Johansson.
not British or not Russian, but I really like Emily Blunt. I think she could do a better job.
She was phenomenal in Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
She was really cool as that Commander Shepard type
Yes.
character.
Like
I
a
thought she did-
perfect,
yeah.
a perfect pairing with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's a very different kind of role for Emily Blunt to have. So that is next on the thing. What's next? That was WandaVision.
Anya asks, what about Polaris, the only child of Magneto who got his magnetism? I didn't know that.
Polaris?
I didn't know that. There's so much X-Men. There's just so much X-Men.
There's a lot of X-Men.
There's more X-Men than there is anything else.
Yeah, there
you
is.
You cannot keep up with it all. No one knows how many. Like, I don't even think anyone at Marvel. Like, they don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's like a
don't.
black box. No one knows how many X-Men there actually are.
Yeah. There's more.
They're just they multiply.
There's too much.
It's like an SCP. Every time you count, there's more.
They're like the feral hogs.
It shouldn't be the uncanny. It should be the uncountable X-Men.
Yeah. It should. Just make an X-Men with all of them. That would be fun.
All right, so let's get in some video games. We're almost
Video
there.
games.
We're getting there.
Almost done, guys.
I have been playing the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake.
I know. I recognize the music. I remember the music from that game with the games that my brother and I used to play.
I rarely use the word perfect.
Wow.
This game is perfect. Absolute perfection. It takes two games that I played 1, 2, 3, 4, Underground 2, American Wasteland, and then stopped because I knew where this was going.
Mm-hmm.
Heartbreak. 1 and 2 I liked, but I didn't think were great. I thought they were fun, and I liked Tony Hawk, so I played them. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 is the best in the entire series. Unquestionably, everyone agrees. This is just an internet fact. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 is tremendously good. It introduced the revert, and it introduced the manual. No, it didn't introduce the manual, but it reverting into manual. So you go up a ramp, you come down, you revert into manual. You can chain these massive combos together.
Yeah,
and then
I
you
remember
get these,
the combos.
Yes. So in the levels, the way they were designed, you could just combo the entire level.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Like,
And there was secret areas like in the mall. If
Yes.
you go behind the sign, you get stuff.
yes, and that was from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1.
Yeah.
So it kind of just took all of them and glommed them together. But the nice thing about the 1 and 2 remake is it grabbed all of the things that were innovative post 1 and 2 and rolled them into the gameplay. So you have reverts, you have manuals, you have wall plants and wall riding, and it's perfect. It's absolute perfection to go back to those levels with the enhanced mechanics, the better graphics, all of the music you love, plus a whole bunch of new music that I now love, and it's just amazing. I made my character, he's creative, it's Sonic, he's got blue hair,
Whoa.
red shoes, he's very fast. He does all the tricks.
That's because you're that skater guy at heart.
At heart, I was a skater boy. They said, "See you later, boy."
Skater guy.
I love it. I absolutely adore that game. If you liked that game growing up or have any passing fondness for it, you should get it because it is just that good. I'm playing it on the PS4 again because I will not support the Epic Game Store, but that's fine. It runs great, 60 frames a
Yeah.
second, 1080p. I'm having a great time. We should do a stream. We should play horse.
Yeah,
or
that'd
graffiti.
be fun.
Yeah.
Duffin says, I know all the Let's Players complain. Oh, the Let's Players, yeah, complain because the soundtrack is copyrighted.
Yeah, I
in
bet.
Minefield.
I bet.
Yeah, you probably couldn't upload anything from that game.
Yeah. I also heard that Jack Black is the cop.
Oh, that's
The unlockable
funny.
cop skater.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I think Jack Black is hilarious.
I love Jack Black.
I think
I need to confirm that.
He's so goofy.
I think I have 2 more levels and I have 100% of the entire thing.
Yeah.
So I'll find out very shortly.
Yeah, let's do it. That'll be fun. But
That's Tony Hawk,
That's
pro
Tony
skater.
Hawk.
Have you seen his Twitter? If you do not follow, if you have a Twitter, we don't anymore.
We don't anymore.
But if you have one, you're doing yourself a disservice if you do not follow Tony Hawk on Twitter. Because all he
seems
does
like
is
a really good guy.
he posts stories about running into people that doesn't realize that he's Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
And like it's the funniest,
crazy.
like weirdest. He loves it. Like I feel like he loves that people think that he's Tony Hawk but
Yeah.
aren't sure. I would totally know. I'd be like, "You're Tony Hawk."
I wouldn't. I had a band teacher that looked a lot like Tony Hawk. I think it was my band teacher before him.
You think Tony Hawk was a band teacher?
My 6th grade band teacher, yeah.
Makes sense.
I would definitely think that was him.
World War Z.
World War Z. Yeah, so World War Z. First of all, Left 4 Dead got an update, which is weird because that game is how old?
That game is ancient old.
Why I didn't know Left 4 Dead was still being played though.
But it's a community update that Valve has now brought into the fold.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But World War Z, we are trying on Game Pass, which Game Pass is Microsoft's, I was going to say renewable, wrong word.
It's their subscription service.
Subscription service. And we tried World War Z, which is a co-op zombie game, which is really, really fun so far. So we played it with my brother and Michael. But I really like it. I think it's a great horde mode game. You have different classes and things like that.
It feels like what Left 4 Dead 3 should be.
Right, exactly. Exactly, yeah. It feels like Left 4 Dead.
One thing I really like about it so far is that, one, there's a progression mechanic, so you
Mm-hmm.
like level up your classes. But each level, because in Left 4 Dead there was like, what, 5 levels.
Right.
They're broken up into, 4 chapters each. But in this game, each level has different characters.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one's in New York, and it's got its own unique cast of characters. The second one's in Jerusalem. It's a totally different set of characters, and they all have their little bios. And it's a neat way to do far more expanded lore and universe.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So if you have Game Pass, or if you have World War Z, if you're looking for a multiplayer co-op game, that one's really, really fun.
Again, not sponsored by Microsoft.
Not sponsored.
But would love to be. Speaking of...
Microsoft.
Well, actually, this is...
Bethesda now is owned by Microsoft.
What a great transition!
Perfect, I remember.
That was fantastic. Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah, so Microsoft owns Bethesda now. So what does this mean?
This is huge. This is one of the biggest technical acquisitions in the history of games.
Okay, but what about... What's his name?
Todd Howard. What about
what's
Todd?
What's going to happen to him?
If you think Microsoft bought Bethesda and wasn't thinking, we got Todd Howard, you are out of your mind. He was absolutely part of the deal.
Are you
I guarantee
sure?
you, they said, you are not allowed to leave this company for 10 years. We
Are
want
you
you at every
sure?
Xbox event. Everyone loves Todd. Everyone loves Todd.
But they like making fun of him. Do they genuinely love him, or do they
If you know who
want
Todd
to just
Howard
make
is,
fun of him?
you love him. It's just like the whole body is Reggie thing. Like there's jokes about Reggie
My
Fils-Aimé.
body is Reggie?
There's jokes about Reggie Fils-Aimé, but we all love and respect
Yeah.
that man.
Yeah,
Same thing
that's
with Todd
true.
Howard.
I don't know, though. I don't
Adoration.
think so. I know people love Reggie, and he's in memes, but people actively make fun of Todd Howard in ways that they didn't make fun of Reggie.
That's because Todd is fun.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I feel like when you make fun of Reggie, it feels like you're making fun of like a parent. But when you make fun of Todd, it's kind of like you're making fun of your uncle. Like you still love your uncle.
It's
but
just
it's
a
Todd
different
Howard.
kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
John Hunter said they had to pay extra for Todd.
They absolutely paid extra for Todd. I guarantee you.
I don't think they're going to get Todd.
He's part of the deal.
I don't think
He
they're
is a
going to
presence.
get Todd.
He shows up in leather jackets
see.
and drops the F-bomb. That is what Todd does. We love Todd. We embrace him. And now he's owned by Microsoft.
We'll see. Rez says, I almost tricked over Todd Howard at E3. That was a decade ago. Thought he was a kid.
See? Everyone loves Todd.
Rez. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll stay tuned for that. But yeah, Microsoft owns Bethesda now, so we'll see what that means for the future of
I know this is like the
Skyrim.
most counter, gaming economic system there is. A statement to say, because like I'm very bought into the PlayStation ecosystem because I love their exclusives.
Right.
And we have Game Pass, so you can play the Microsoft games on PC. So I realize we're in a state of like best of all worlds.
Yeah.
But it was really upsetting to see like how much exclusivity Sony was getting with like, we get this game for 6 months on our console first.
Yeah.
And it's like, I am glad Microsoft stepped in and said like, this is kind of bad behavior.
Yeah.
We're going to buy this studio that you've been buying exclusive time
Right.
for, and now we own it. And you
Wow.
don't get it. Like, just stop.
Yeah.
Stop with the war.
Stop with that whole thing.
Like, make your games for yourself, but
Right.
don't take your games away from other people.
Yeah, I agree.
Just-
Drew
it's
Rogers says, even
disgusting
after
behavior.
Fallout 76, we still love him. So Drew, a while ago we were talking about how much we've enjoyed playing Fallout 76, but we've played Fallout 76 after the patches and
Yes.
after the content. So
I've heard the latest patch is phenomenal.
right, yeah,
Haven't tried it
same.
yet.
We need to
Yeah.
play it, but we were told that we knew Fallout 76 wasn't good at the beginning, but we had no idea. So someone linked us, I forget who, linked us a video to Internet Historian's video on Fallout 76, and that was hilarious.
I cried. I was laughing so hard.
It was so funny. I actually showed that video to my boss who knows nothing about video games, and I said, here's an example of a AAA studio that made a game that the marketing was so bad for it that it just completely destroyed the chances of the game being able to flourish like its preceding titles had. Can you guys hear Luna growling?
They
in the
can.
back? They can?
They want to know.
Oh, why is Luna growling?
You know
in a
why?
pile?
Something's happening.
Luna, what's that?
Something's going to happen.
What's that,
Luna, what's that? What's that?
What's that, Luna?
What's that?
That's like her that's her call to arms. Oh, great. Now the little one's calling to
Wheel
her.
on the wall.
Hey, Smudge, come here. Come here, Smudge. Smudge, come on, honey. Come here. Smudge, come. Come here, Smudge.
Mr. Tellius says Bethesda tricked Microsoft into buying Skyrim again.
Yeah, how many times has that happened?
Microsoft needs to bring back the Windows Phone and put Skyrim on it. For all of our sakes.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, I love it.
William Hacking says Todd Howard snuck in is trying to install Skyrim on their microwave. But we talked about if your smart refrigerator had a Skyrim app.
Oh yeah, it'd sell.
That would be great.
People
I
would buy
totally
it
do
just
that.
to get the footage
Yes.
of the hey you're finally awake.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
People would do it.
Not even saying that as a joke. That would be great. So that is now what? Oh, Duncan says, sounds like a little boy trapped us down a well. Save him, Luna.
She's on it.
Hey, she's on it. She went.
She's going.
She's good. She's gone.
Well, now we said she, and she's coming.
Yeah.
She understands what she is, and now
She
she's coming
knows
back.
certain phrases. She, her, girl. Then she'll say, "Oh, they're talking about me," because we don't use she, her. I mean, in anyone else.
Yeah,
Referencing,
I never referred to you as she.
Right.
Yeah.
You would just call me by my name.
Yeah, Kite Tails. I'm like, Kite Tails! What's going on?
Uh-huh.
That's how we
Yeah.
talk. That's how we talk off stream.
Yeah, that's how we talk off stream. Also, you guys can call me by my name if you want. Just throwing that out.
That's just Kite.
Some people like to say my name.
Yeah.
Only certain people know what my name is, so I just have to throw that out there. Okay, so what else?
Okay, so the other big, like, sort of industry gaming thing is Amazon made a cloud gaming.
Yeah, we talked about this, right?
No, this just happened
I
this
thought
week.
we talked. Oh no, we talked about Amazon
making
MMO.
a game, but now
Right.
Amazon is trying to compete with
Yeah,
xCloud
but Stadia
and
wanted
Stadia.
to do that.
I don't get
I
it.
thought Stadia was dead.
We're not there yet. Now,
No.
in Amazon's defense, if anyone's going to get us there, it's Amazon. Because of their drones and their framework, they are capable of getting internet standard up to where it needs to be, where we
Right.
can actually stream games
So
kind of flawlessly.
Amazon might be the one that's able to do this more than anyone else.
Yes.
I have to jump back really quickly. Rocker Gamer said there's a Haunted Mansion board game coming out. Are we talking
Yes.
Disney's Haunted Mansion board game?
Yeah, they told me about that.
With
it looks
Disney
cool.
lore.
Yeah.
Because I'm obsessed with Disney Haunted. I want to
It looks-
live in that house.
It looks pretty cool. He sent me a link.
Okay, thank you. I'm definitely gonna have to
We gotta
look
play.
into that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I am obsessed with the Haunted Mansion. Rez says her name is Legion. Luna, Luna or me? That was probably a joke about me. My name is Legion. No, I'm a generally nice person on the stream.
Andrew says it's the Star Wars version of Haunted Mansion with Force Ghosts. Sorry.
I don't like that.
It's the George Lucas cut.
I want
now.
the original one. Ani says, now it's xCloud since ID, who is now owned by Microsoft, was developing software designed to enhance cloud streaming. Oh.
Yeah. There's
So
a wild conglomerate of things happening, like in the last week, when you
Right.
actually look at all the things that
Yeah.
are happening. I think there's another thing about Facebook and Oculus, and like now your Facebook account is tied to your Oculus ID. I
Yeah.
warned you. I said you shouldn't buy an Oculus,
Yeah.
and you didn't listen to me.
That's true. Yeah.
Bad news. They're tracking your eyes. They're absolutely tracking your eyes, and they're trying to sell you things.
It's going to be like that episode of Black Mirror.
Yes.
When the guy is in the room with the advertisements and he closes his eyes to escape, but then the ad shuts off.
What was? Oh, it was like Wrath Babes.
Yeah, Wrath Babes, because he didn't want to see this.
Wrath
He didn't want to
Babes.
see this woman he was in love with, who had basically gotten out of the system by becoming a Wrath Babe.
Yep.
He didn't want to see her advertisement, so he closed his eyes. But the advertisement would only work when his eyes were
That was the guy
open.
from Get Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To force you to finish watching it.
That was such a good episode.
Yeah, but I feel like that's where it's going.
When's
They're
Black
going
Mirror
to
coming
track your
back?
eyes and they're going to put an ad in that spot.
I feel like 2020 we didn't have a season of Black Mirror because 2020 just became Black Mirror.
Yes, 2021 will have some crazy stuff.
Okay,
but
so
yeah.
another gaming news. You've been playing.
Guidon says that was British Black Mirror, right?
Yes,
Yes.
that was the OG Black Mirror.
Right, yes. So that's it. What's
You've been playing Civilization 6.
Yes, well, first of all, Tiara invited me to play Civilization 5, which we still have to finish our game because I was, for the longest time, we were typing to each other while we were playing the game, but I told her that the barbarians are destroying me, and I just couldn't catch a break. I couldn't, my workers were dying. I was constantly just fighting against the barbarians, and she said, oh no, are you unhappy? Like, I don't know.
Tiara's so much nicer to you than she is to me.
It was private. No one could see her be nice to me. But I
hidden.
thought that was very cute. But so afterwards, everyone in the chat was saying, well, why aren't we playing Civilization 6? And so I started playing Civilization 6, and it is
To which I
so-
said, why aren't we playing Crusader Kings 3? The supreme game.
But Civilization 6 is such a step up from Civilization 5.
Yes.
It's crazy. I still love, I love 5. I'll continue playing it. It's fine. We played 4 with the group. But 6 is so much more just bright and detailed.
Well, when I played one night with you and Pyle, and I had to deal with barbarians for the first hour.
Yeah. I know the barbarians.
For whatever reason. But
we were talking
I was
about...
impressed with, because you had watched The Crown.
Right.
Victoria.
Yeah.
The week before.
Right.
And then my neighbor was Victoria, and when she popped up on my screen, I was like, that's the same girl.
Right.
Like, they look identical.
Yeah, they do. They did a really good job with the actress from Victoria looking like Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
Rocker Gamer says, okay, guys, now the next step is Total War Warhammer. How many people in the chat would love if we did that, though?
I think 1,000 ears just perked up.
Yeah.
I was like, Total War Warhammer?
But we could do
Warhammer
that teams. We can do that teams.
All I know.
Because that went so well.
I will only play that game if I can be the Skaven.
Whoa.
I love the Skaven.
Let's do it. That'll be fun.
I love those little rats.
We're going to do a game night for that because I know Bishop's heart will beat a million miles an hour if he has more people to play with him. TR says they replaced Elizabeth. Yes, they did. They replaced Elizabeth. She's Victoria now.
Interesting.
In Civ 6.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They did.
Not great. Not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's fun. But we talked about how Civ would work good if it was for when you play multiplayer, if you didn't have the taking turns thing. If they automated that somehow, instead of saying worker built in 12 turns, worker built in 130 seconds. That way you don't have to wait another. Sometimes it's just like waiting.
Pyle was telling us it's based on a board game.
Right.
But I truly think that Civ needs to break out of the turn-based structure.
Yeah.
And kind of get with not a real-time strategy type setup, but something more akin to like what Paradox does. Because all of their games, they're like 4x, 6x, whatever number of X's they have for their grand strategy is all real-time.
Right.
And that's far more enjoyable in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because part of being a decision maker and a leader is not having the luxury of time.
Yeah.
You have to make decisions in the moment.
Right.
You
And
can't do it all.
sometimes the decisions aren't good, but
Yeah.
you have to make it.
You have to make it.
Okay, I just have to do this.
That's one of the things I love about CK3 is
Right.
you don't know. A lot of times it'll say like, you have 4 decisions to make here. Do you worship the witch? Do you banish the witch? Do you lay with the witch? All of these things are going to produce tragically different circumstances. And like, that's the decision you make. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're...
the chat went away.
Oh.
No, that's a great point, though, is that it does give that more element of, okay, I feel like I'm actually making decisions that matter, that are going to affect it.
Well, and one of the things I learned in playing, I'm just going to reload this so we get the chat back.
Yeah,
but one of the things I learned in playing CK3 was oh no. What the squeck?
So we're just looking at a screen right now with a bunch of kites on it.
There we go.
Like, not swallowtail kites. Kites as in kites you fly in the sky.
Hopefully the chat comes back. But one of the things I learned is when I was an emperor of like nearly half the map at one point in time. I was just steamrolling. And then I converted to the feudal stage. And what ended up happening is in that conversion, I lost a lot of my army, a lot of the policies and politics changed, and I was overthrown.
Right.
3 different kingdoms came up and removed me. And I went from emperor to a duke. That's like 2 steps down. I owned a little bit of land. But I asked my friend who's like a Crusader King's master, he's like, no, that's just the experience. That happened in real life. Like, empires are forged and they are broken. And that's part of the game.
Yeah,
like, you hold on to what you can hold on to for as long as you can.
I think that's the thrill of that kind of game.
It really is.
So maybe Civ will get to that.
Yes.
Also, Kevin says, is this live? Yes, it is,
I'm
Kevin.
not sure, Kevin. Is it live?
Is it live, Kevin? Yeah, so that's Civ. I forgot that game's a lot of fun, though. That's a fun game. I like it.
Yes.
Guidon says, it is a fantasy.
On a landscribe.
Landscribe.
No escape from reality. I've been playing Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah.
Which is yes. Well, I haven't played that game in... So, little backstory here. That's my first 3D Mario.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't do Mario 64.
Never played Mario 64. Tried to play it on the Switch. Not a big fan. But I love Sunshine. It's my favorite Mario game of all time.
Yeah.
All of them. Mario Sunshine's the best. Been replaying it, and somehow I forgot what the key plot device was in that game. And I wanted to ask you, live on stream, Do you know what the plot to Super Mario Sunshine is?
Yeah, I thought Peach was kidnapped by Bowser because Peach's son with Bowser was an orphan.
Say that again?
Bowser kidnaps Peach to go raise baby Bowser because he was an orphan.
Do you know what Bowser told his son? Bowser Jr.? Bowser tells Bowser Jr. that Peach is his legit biological mother.
Yeah, that's what he tells Bowser Jr.
That's what he tells Bowser Jr.
Right,
Are you,
I
and
remember.
you think this is an okay plot for a kid's game?
No, I remember this.
Do you know the implications?
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, firstly,
Okay, can
gaslighting
we-
his child and saying,
First of all, do we believe that Peach came from a toad?
yes,
Because that's her dad.
she was born from a toadstool.
So how did she become
Peach.
a toad? But she can't have a Bowser son.
Ours
That
is
doesn't
not to
make sense.
question the rules and logic
Also,
of the
who
Mushroom
is baby
Kingdom.
Bowser's mother? Who's his real mother?
That is the real question
So
that I
we
want to
don't
get
know.
to today.
What we do need is Jerry Springer.
Yes. Because Peach is not the mother. Which is, like, usually it's the other way around. Like, it's like, you are not the father.
Yeah.
But in this case,
You are not the mother.
he has gaslit his child into thinking that Peach
We don't know that though.
is his mother.
We don't know that.
And Mario's like, Peach the mama? Oh, mamma mia! Like, what the heck, Mario?
Sierra
You've been with her
says-
this entire time.
Listen, we've all slept with terrapins before. You made me eat my fan. No, I'm serious. There's no way to prove that she's not the mother of
I
baby
think she
Bowser.
would know. I think Peach would know if she was the mama.
But does she deny it? Does she say, I'm not?
Okay, I was like, when I was playing it, I was kind of in shock. I'm like, how did this just over my head all these
Right.
years? She's like, I'm your mama. What? Like, she is just as stupefied as I am playing
That's
this game.
funny.
Like, it is traumatizing. And I don't know why Nintendo thought this was an okay plot.
Probably because they didn't remember that. I still remember that was the plot, though. I remember that was the plot of the game. from
Poor
all
little
those
Bowser
years ago.
Jr. What a
I know.
crappy father.
I actually love Bowser Jr. I think he's so cute.
He's very
He
cute.
reminds me of Smudge, though.
He's very cute.
Yeah, he's very cute. He reminds me of Smudge.
Also, that game is just tremendous.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Super Mario Sunshine.
A lot of people don't
Classic.
like it, and Weeb and I are talking about this because I didn't know this, but a lot of people don't like Sunshine because it's all vacation themed.
Right.
Like before then, Mario had always been like, you have your desert land, you
Mm-hmm.
have your Yoshi land, you have your castle and your ghost house.
Waterland, right.
But this is all vacation.
yeah.
But that's what I love about it. Is
Right.
it's such a gorgeous and fun and like upbeat little tropical paradise.
yeah, it's different.
And the water mechanics in that game are amazing. I never noticed this, but if you shoot your flood on a roof, the water will actually trickle down the roof like
Oh, wow.
real style.
That's crazy.
So, to Bishop's point earlier, he made a comment basically saying, can you believe that there's a man out there who thinks that video games don't need graphics? What I would say is, can you believe there are people out there that think graphics are greater than aesthetics? Because
Wow.
Mario Sunshine
Yep.
is a however many year old, 15-year-old
That's
game
a
now.
good argument.
And is more beautiful than anything that's came out in the last
Right.
year.
Right.
Because of aesthetics.
Yeah.
Not graphics.
Agreed. No, I completely agree. That's why people still
Yeah.
are drawn to these classic games. That because it's not even because they've been re-released or whatever, but because we remember it being so beautifully constructed that we just don't see a modern day equal for it. So reading some of the comments, Gaudon says the style in GameCube games was incredible.
Yes.
I completely agree. with you. Do you remember when Pikmin first came out?
Yes.
That was it was so
It was
unbelievable.
like hyper realistic on the GameCube.
It was,
but
was
with these
great.
cute little bloblets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pikmin was great. I just remember it was so impressive at the time. You don't realize how innovative it is when it first came
And
out.
GameCube was the underpowered console.
Yeah.
Like out of the PS2, the Xbox, the GameCube was the weak one.
Right.
And I think it has the most distinct visuals out of all three.
I agree. I definitely agree. Mr. Telly says Sunshine as a whole is definitely a very particular taste, at least compared to other Mario games. Yeah. It is.
Well, I've always been a Sonic fan. I grew
Mm-hmm.
up with Sega. I grew up with Sonic. So I think Mario Sunshine is actually the most
Kind of
like
like-
a Sonic
yeah.
game too,
You
which
like
also
those
appeals to me.
bright games.
I like bright. I like super bold colors.
Tiara says, guys be talking about graphics, but then sit in front of a map of Europe for hours and call it a game. Wow,
See,
that's
what is
direct.
the deal?
That's directly calling you out.
Firstly, the I I don't need graphics. This statement was made. I need aesthetics.
It's because she's clearly Team Kite, though.
Well, okay, you can be Team Kite, but let me tell you something, Tiara. The mechanics are what bring me to games in the first place.
Right.
I am here for the mechanics.
The gameplay.
I am astonished by the style, and I am disappointed by most Call of Duty. That's where I am on
That's
this
what we
front.
have to say. Wow, Tiara says she has 600 odd hours in Crusader Kings 2. Wow.
What game is Tiara playing? What game?
Crusader Kings 2.
Yeah, I understand that.
William Hacking says, have you ever seen the promo art for Pikmin that sold me on the game? I haven't. But I can imagine it involves those big ladybugs like chomping down Pikmin.
I think it did.
Which is horrifying when you think about it.
The big ones.
I hated losing my little guys.
Yeah, it was sad.
It was terrifying. And then you could hear their squeals when the ladybugs are destroying them.
That game was really cool too because it was like an RTS
Yeah,
on console.
I actually want to play Pikmin again.
Great news.
Like, this is making me want to play Pikmin.
Pikmin 3 is coming
I
out
know.
on the
It
Switch.
is. It's co-op.
Pikmin 3 is great.
We should do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do that. This has rejuvenated my love of Pikmin. just
Pikmin
thinking
is
about
phenomenal.
How much I love it. Duffman says, yeah, both the GameCube and Xbox were more powerful than PS2.
Oh, I didn't know that GameCube
Yet the
was.
PS2 blotted out the sun with games. Most diverse game lineup for any system.
It was the most.
I
I think it was the
believe
most
it.
games. Period. Right? Like PS2 had
yeah.
so many games.
I know.
Because just anyone could make a PS2
And those
game.
were like the glory console days.
Those were the.
Those are the good old days.
Well, I feel like every console cycle up to the PS3. I guess with the GameCube, that was like the
Right.
last distinct console cycle where you had 3 different consoles doing 3 very different things. Like
Yeah.
Xbox had
Yeah.
the multiplayer Halo. PlayStation had just a variety of you want something, it exists on
Right.
PlayStation. And Nintendo had this sort of style and mechanical
Right.
prowess that was unique.
It
And then
did.
you look back one generation, you had your Dreamcast, your Nintendo 64, and your PlayStation. Each gave its own
Yeah.
very unique take on things.
Right.
But then you get to the PS3, the Xbox 360, and the Wii,
And
and the
they
Wii's
all-
the only one doing anything distinct.
Yeah.
And even today, it's like it's gotten even more kind of blurred and
Right,
muddy.
right.
And there's just not the kind of innovation you used to have, which
Right.
is sad.
It is sad. We need more of that.
Yes, we do.
So
Bring back the innovation.
bring it back.
Speaking of bringing things back, Amnesia is getting a sequel.
Yes, which is
Weird.
a crazy game they have a sequel to, because
They already made a
Amnesia-
sequel.
Did
It wasn't
they?
good. I never played it, but I
To
heard it wasn't
Amnesia,
good.
so
Yeah.
they're making a third in the title.
Yes, but this is actually by the original studio.
Well, this one at least looks interesting because it takes place in the desert. It's like a desert temple.
I haven't seen the trailer.
I saw the trailer. So there's this archaeologist explorer. She's in the desert temple, and so she starts seeing stuff. It sort of reminded me of the forest, and I loved the forest. I thought that was just such an amazing game. It's actually will be the most watched video I've ever made. Anything. It almost has like 800,000 views or something, my video I did on the forest, but I really love those games in which I can explore the lore and it sort of unfolds. So Amnesia, is it Dark Descent?
This is Rebirth. Dark Descent was
Rebirth.
the first one.
Okay, Rebirth, it sort of looks like it might be that, so I'm gonna see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I really enjoyed the first one, and I also liked Soma.
Salty Slug says PS did VR and Xbox had Kinect.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
but
true.
I don't feel like that's a standout.
Yeah, it unfortunately didn't go anywhere. Although I will say the camera for Kinect is amazing,
It is,
and I wish we could use that to stream.
but they killed it
They did. I don't know why they wouldn't, because that was
because it wasn't a
fantastic camera.
success.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad. Gaudon says, "Oh great, more first-person horror games. I know, just what we need after Resident Evil Village is coming out. There was another horror game coming out as well, wasn't there? The scary one, Outlast. Didn't Outlast have another
Well,
game?
Outlast had a sequel. Remember we tried it, The Cult.
Oh, I can't remember.
I mean, Resident Evil Village.
Resident Evil Village. I thought something else was coming out too, but yeah, I know. It's.
I mean,
like,
I'm excited
there's so
for
many.
the World of Darkness Wraith game.
Ooh,
That's a me thing. That's definitely like a me thing.
it's creepy. Ryan says, "What's up? What you guys doing?"
Just hanging out, Brian M.
Just hanging out. Right now, we're talking about video games. Our weekly segment, we talked about things going on in the world, movies, shows, video games. Now we're going to get more into life stuff next.
Well, we still have some more. So Gaidon asks,
more?
can we talk about, or can we just have some more RTS games?
Well, interesting you should say that, Gaodon, because one of the heads of Blizzard has now gone off and created his own studio.
Dreamhaven.
Yes.
But they haven't announced anything for Dreamhaven yet.
No.
We have no idea what they're going to do, so we can't say.
But I think we can all agree that Blizzard is dead. The thing that we know is Blizzard is dead.
Can we look up a thing of Dreamhaven, the artwork?
Yeah.
So we're gonna the artwork they showed for Dreamhaven got me excited because I thought this was a game coming out, and just based on this photo I said, oh wow, that game looks really pretty, I want to play that. But nope, it wasn't. I think it's just
This one?
yeah, look how pretty that looks.
But this kind of has the vibe
of
Blizzard.
maybe what they're going for.
Yeah. Because, like, you can even see there's, like, the StarCraft kind of thing, and there's your Elf Tower kind of thing, and there's your Warcraft pirate kind of thing.
Gaudon says, did you see their statement? They specifically mentioned they wanted creative freedom instead of corporate decision making. Wow, that is
good for
very,
them.
very pointed and
Good
specific.
for them.
But I wonder what kind of games they're going to make, though.
I think it's going to be like old Blizzard games. They're going to get back into RTSs and strategy games.
I think, though, the announcement said they're going to open with 2 games. So they're currently working on 2 things?
Well, it would kind of make sense. If you think about StarCraft and Warcraft,
right?
One is space, one is magic.
Yeah.
Or fantasy. You could do the same thing again.
Yeah.
You make the same game twice, and
Right.
you change things about it, mechanically and graphically.
I mean, Blizzard has taken enough creative liberties with other people's artwork.
This is only appropriate.
Then Dreamhaven could do that. So we'll see. Salty Slug says, I'm ready for Xbox All Stars, Master Chief, Doom Guy, Fussrado Nord, and Marcus Phoenix beating each other up. Super Smash Brothers. They did that though. They did a game like that. PlayStation All Stars tried to do something like
I think
that.
that's what he's referencing. It's PlayStation All Stars.
Yeah.
And Smash Bros.
But what happened to PlayStation All Stars?
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I mean, it
playing
wasn't the best.
I was gonna say Starkara. Hi Starkara. I haven't read a comment, but we see you out there. Super Smash Brothers though is such a great game that I think that's gonna be really hard to replicate that with something else. Even if you replace all of them with your fighters, it's iconic.
It's a party fighting game.
Exactly.
It's not Street Fighter.
Right.
It's Smash Bros.
It's a party fighting game, but so it's gonna be hard.
Speaking
to
of
do
like
that.
console defining, like that's what got me in Nintendo 64 was Smash Bros.
I have so many good memories with Smash Bros. Me and my brother and his friends staying up until 10 o'clock, which is late. Just having these ridiculous competitions and stuff, or putting the computer up there, putting it up to level 9.
Seeing if you take it down.
Yeah. So I just really good memories with Smash Bros.
The chat brought up the Nier remake. Weeb and I are incredibly excited for the Nier remake. Nier is a fantastic game that came out on the PlayStation and Xbox and kind of disappeared for a while. They made a sequel, which wasn't as good, Nier Automata. But finally, people are going to be able to play the original, which is like the far better game.
Nice.
And the video they put out of the remake looks just stellar.
Well.
Great music, amazing story. That was like one of the first games that like truly made me go like, whoa, I didn't know you could do that with game storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's just a really fun game to play.
So that's good.
Heck yeah.
People will get to play it for the first time.
For the first time, yes. Whoa.
What's next?
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Among Us 2 is canceled.
Yes, Among Us 2 is canceled. So, Among Us, the game that has spawned a million memes because of it being picked up by most likely a streamer who made it popular overnight. The Among Us came out in 2018 and is only now gaining traction. They were making a second one, but now they canceled that.
Yes.
Because they said that they are going to invest all of their time and energy into making Among Us a better game, which is super exciting. There's definitely a ton of stuff they need to fix with that game.
Yep.
So I think that's really awesome and honorable and admirable, that instead of scrapping something where they could potentially make more money on sales, they're just going to make the game everyone owns better.
Yep.
So
I
think
love that.
That's a really, really good.
And that game is so
Great
good
game.
already. So I'm excited to see how they're going to make it better.
That's actually a much, much smarter thing to do than
Yes.
making a sequel.
It is.
Very good move on them, because everyone already has the game. You're going to already have it, as opposed to, the possibility we may not buy the sequel.
Yes.
So really, really good move for them. They will probably potentially make a lot more this way too than they would with.
Well, they might not make a lot more in the short term.
Right.
Because you already have such a large market spot in your game.
Right.
But you're going to build goodwill.
Exactly.
Long term. And you can also learn from, your current game what to focus on for the sequel.
Or you could buy expansion packs or something
Yeah.
like that. There are ways to do that. Salty Slug says canceled after all that success. More game modes would be fun. I totally agree.
It's got such a great foundation.
Right.
You could definitely expand that in a lot of different ways.
They definitely need more game modes because it does get kind of repetitive to only be able to do the same certain thing every single level.
I would like to be able to change the number of imposters from the menu.
Yes.
And I think if they could kind of go
change
battle
the
royale.
map from the menu.
More players.
Yeah.
20 player
that
maps.
would be crazy.
30 player maps.
Yeah. So
Heck
I definitely think it does have a ton of, a ton of good ideas out there that they could do with it.
Last thing.
Wow, last thing.
Peacemaker.
What is that?
I don't know.
Peacemaker? Who put that on there?
Peacemaker.
What is Peacemaker?
No idea. Did I put this on there? Did you put this on there?
What's Peacemaker?
Who put this on there?
I don't remember putting that on there.
I don't
What
think I
is
did.
Peacemaker? Oh, thank you, Pyle. Pyle's the one who told me about Peacemaker. Peacemaker, the John Cena character in Suicide Squad, is getting his own spin-off show before Suicide Squad.
That's buck wild.
Yes, that's how confident they are.
That is buck
So they
wild.
said that John Cena's character Peacemaker is so obsessed with keeping the peace, no matter how many people he kills to get it.
I cannot wait. Sign me up.
I have no idea what it's going to be, but we were talking about how confident they must be that his character is going to be so popular.
Let's face it, they know how popular
show.
John Cena already is.
So John Cena is getting his own show, Peacemaker, on HBO Max.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I will watch that.
I have no idea what it's going to be, but
that'll be good.
That's going to be crazy.
Okay.
That's going to be nuts.
So that's it.
That's it.
We're there. Time for our send-off.
Our send-off. Also, Ninja Land says life advice. Yes, we did start doing a life advice segment.
Yes.
My advice for right now would be to try and learn something new, because that is such a great way to exercise your brain. When you learn something new, you're exercising your brain muscle. So instead of just reading other people's thoughts and regurgitating other people's thoughts, you're learning something. Like, I've loved learning French. It's helped my memory recall be quicker as well, but it's just been so fun for me, and it's turned into a hobby of mine. So my life advice would be try and find something that you can learn how to do. Maybe you can learn how to do programming. That's a really great, tangible skill that can lead to a job if you put enough time and investment to it.
And I would even say this kind of goes even beyond just, you don't have to go out and learn how to sew. If you like watching TV, instead of watching the next season of The Great British Bake Off, go watch a documentary.
Right, exactly.
Or, if you like to read books, go read some nonfiction. Or,
Right.
If you like to play games, go play a strategy game or a puzzle game instead of a shooter.
Right.
Break the boundary of your normality.
Do something different.
And just cause your mind to work a little bit harder.
Right, exactly.
It's very good for you.
So that's our life advice for this week.
Yeah.
Duffman says, read about things you aren't interested in. You don't have to do it all the time, but it's worthwhile in the long run. Totally agree, Duffman. And I think that is going back to what I was saying at the beginning of the stream. I love when you guys send me articles or papers for me to read that you think I'm going to enjoy, because I've learned a lot of things like that I would not, I would have never gone out of my way to learn about Denmark's future of wind power had I not been shared that video explaining it. So I definitely take the time to learn new things. It's really, really great.
Resogram said, did Kite just tell us learn to code? Triggered. I'll one up that. Learn to code. Get a job in it. Do it for 5 years. Burn out. Go into sales. Never code again.
Wow.
That's the real strategy.
Phew.
Whew.
That's the real strategy. Yeah, so if no one has any other questions or topics that you want us to talk about, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up now. Were we going to watch something tonight?
Yes, Princess Mononoke.
Oh yeah, Princess Mononoke. It might be too late.
It might be too late.
We'll watch it tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll watch Princess Mononoke tomorrow. We'll watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest on Sunday. So we have our little thing. Gowden says, I did. I don't know what that's in reference to. Maybe
did.
you asked us something.
He did.
but we missed it.
But he did.
But he did. Sorry about that. Duffman says good night. Good night, Duffman. Yeah. Tiara says Princess Mononoke is a long movie. It is. It is long. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow at a time that's earlier than now, so that our international viewers can join. Noble says 2 p.m. both days. I don't know, Noble. That's a good question. I'll find out.
I'll post in the Discord.
Oh, bye, Oliver. Okay. Not Green says bye, guys. Yeah. Bye, everyone. So just remember to try and do something good for yourself this week. Do some yoga. Do some facial massages if you've got like tension built up in your jaw. That's why I carry my stress. Be good to yourself, and yeah,
Can't
that's
love
it.
yourself.
How
Are we
the
gonna steal?
squick
Are
you
we
gonna love
steal
somebody
RuPaul's
else?
sign off? We need our own sign off.
Yeah, we need our own sign up.
Yeah, like if you can't,
We'll think of it.
if you
How
can't
about
handle us at our squeck, you don't deserve us
How
at our
about where's
best.
the magma?
Where is the magma?
Rez says hopefully we'll get that Bible study stream on Sunday. I will totally do a Bible study stream. I absolutely will. It's going to be much earlier though. It's going to be like 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll do it though. That'll
Yeah.
be fun. I have things to talk about. So yeah, and we'll see everyone later.
Yes.
Au revoir. Au revoir.
Goodbye.
Bonsoir.
Goodbye.
I want to do a stream where I just talk in French.
Yeah, you should.
Just for French people.
I still don't know how to stop this thing.
I think you have to scroll up.
No.
And there's like an X somewhere.
No.
Yeah, there is. Trust me.
There's an X.
It's
Oh,
like a
it's because it's on the picture.